back home in Omaha.
No more talking, it's time to play the College World Series here in Omaha, Nebraska.
They play the game 1,000 names you've never heard before. Yeah, but don't forget a single place you can see that ball again. And somewhere down the road you might say, I remember when.
First 1-2 is hammered and headed toward the corner in right field. It'll score two. 5-0 Green Wave. And Stanford finally breaks through with their long-awaited big inning. Turns it into a 3-run lead for the Cardinals. That ball just carried and carried and carried. There's a fastball crushed to left. And we got a ball game, Mike. Wow. John Cole, this time slightly left of dead center. Cole at the wall, forget it.
There's a dream in every club, there's a wish on every bar. And once again, they'll make their name back home in Omaha.
It is day 3 of the 2001 NCAA College World Series as we continue from Omaha. It is our first elimination game of the series, with two teams making their first ever appearance in a College World Series, and one of them will make their first ever departure today. Tulane and Nebraska in the opening game of the series on Friday. The Green Wave with an 8-0 lead. Stanford's Jeff Brooks came on stuffing a 9th-inning rally. Later that night, Nebraska played before the expected sea of red. The 9th-inning game-tying opportunity never blossomed for the Huskers in a 1-run loss to Cal State Fullerton. Again today, Husker Mania in full force. The sea of red outside Rosenblatt Stadium as far as the eye can see. And with elimination on the line, look for the decibel level to go way up again inside Rosenblatt in support of Big Red Baseball. Again, double elimination format. Here in Bracket 1, the winner of this game stays and watches the results of tonight's matchup between Stanford and Cal State Fullerton. Tomorrow, the bottom half of our 8-team field resuming, with Tennessee meeting Georgia in an elimination game, and USC and Miami will battle in the nightcap. And welcome again to Omaha. Dave Barnett and Harold Reynolds. It's a little different feeling for Nebraska today. They admitted that the big crowd behind them on Friday night may have actually worked against them. They were a little bit jittery, trying a little too hard in the early going. And the biggest difference today, Harold, is instead of being happy to be here, they need to figure out a way to stay here.
And that's one of the toughest things, not only playing an elimination game, but the pressure of trying to win for your home crowd. They've had great support. The first time here, they're trying to really put their signature on the program. But on the other side, the flip side of the coin, Tulane played against LSU down in New Orleans. They're used and accustomed to big crowds, excited about being here and looking forward to playing in front of this big crowd.
Well, the reason that they're making their first appearance offense in both cases, and for Nebraska, they sport their first baseman Dan Johnson, all-time single-season home run record holder, and for Tulane, Jake Gautreau, third baseman, huge bat, and has still never missed an inning of his career.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. The thing about coming to the College World Series, oftentimes the big guns don't perform here. Well, both these guys have. Dan Johnson, for example, his first at bat, rifled the ball down a left field corner, which I thought was important because as a left-hand hitter, showed that he was going to relax and stay on the ball, whatever they give him. Jake Gautreau, on the other hand, he was a #1 draft pick of San Diego Padres. He's glad to have the draft over. He's relaxed. He got a couple hits the other day. They're going to need his bat to get on fire because there's going to have to be some runs today because there will be some firepower in this ball game.
And in the loser's bracket, usually it's a battle of whose pitching holds up the longest. The matchup today, right-hander R.D. Spees for the Huskers, lefty Bo Richardson for the Wave. Green Wave Cornhuskers lineups at first pitch when we return to the 2001 NCAA College World Series.
ESPN's presentation of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Welcome back to Omaha. If you close your eyes, it almost sounds like we're 50 miles away at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. A highly partisan Nebraska crowd to take on Rick Jones, Tulane Green Wave, first ever representative of Conference USA ever to make it here to the College World Series. His 8th year, 6th postseason appearance, and here is the Rick Jones starting lineup today.
John Kaplan, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Andy Canizero, Mandeville, Louisiana. I've worn the same Tulane baseball undershirt under my jersey since high school.
Jake Gotro, McAllen, Texas. They call me GOAT.
James Juris, my friends call me JJ from Lake Jackson, Texas. Michael Albert from Shreveport, Louisiana. Friends and family call me Phenom.
Matt Groff, Northport Myers High, same high school as Deion Sanders and Byron Kirk.
Jay Hines from Aurora, Colorado. Broncos and Avalanche country.
Anthony Giarratano, Marlboro, New Jersey. Friends call me G.
Scott Madden, Metairie, Louisiana.
Right-hander from Grand Island, Nebraska, R.D. Spees, the number 2 starter behind Shane Comine, 8.3, ERA of 4.86, 21st appearance on his show.
Get himself into the game. We saw Comine the other night in front of a big crowd. Wasn't able to settle down for the 3rd inning. They need to get off to a good start in the mound.
We're set to go. Winner stays, loser heads home. Day 3 of the College World Series, and reality hits hard for one of these teams today. Fielder from just outside St. Louis. One of the top defensive center fielders in the country and improved across the board in all offensive categories this year. Sophomore sprays one fair down the right field line, and Kaplan with the speed to turn and head into second. The throw from Adam Stern. Nowhere near in time, and John Kaplan leads off with a double.
That's signs of things to come. That was a little squibbler right there. He stayed with the ball. You couldn't have thrown it any better, Dave. Perfect placement. Watch this pitch. Breaking ball on the outside half, and he's fooled. He thinks it's a foul ball. Then he says, oh my goodness, it's going to stay fair. Top of the order, very balanced. They will run, and they will also bunt, so I'm pretty sure we'll see some kind of movement or an attempt to get the man over right here.
Andy Canizero hitting almost 400 with a 14-game hitting streak. 12 of those 14, he has had at least 2 hits. He had 3 Friday, 2 singles and a double. First pitch from Spees to Canizero misses.
You notice he's busting him inside, trying not to give him a pitch away that can slap to the right side to move that runner up.
Dead center look from behind Spees. Breaking ball. Will fall in right field for a base hit. They'll hold Kaplan as Stern gets it in to Jeff Morris in the hole. Strong arm by Stern in right field.
Yeah, very nice throw. But what a great piece of hitting by Canizero. You know he's trying to get the man over inside out. Watch how he takes this inside out, stays trying to shoot the ball the opposite way. Great job. Watch him pull his hands back inside, take that ball, and drive it to right. He got the double bonus. He got the base hit in, got the man over.
So make it a 15-game hitting streak for Canizero, who is also 5th in the country in stolen bases, 52 out of 57. Perfect opportunity for Tulane to jump early on Spees with their best hitter, junior third baseman from McAllen, Texas, Jake Gotro. Also working on a 14-game hitting streak, 29 of his last 30.
Well, the amazing thing you said about Gotro is he has played every inning of every game since he's been at Tulane.
He is the Cal Ripken Jr. of college baseball.
So that's a few 4-hour ball games mixed in there, too. That's a lot of playing.
Speed to worry about at first. And the biggest in the Tulane lineup to worry about at the plate. 20 home runs, 93 RBIs, single season Green Wave record for driving in runs this year. 194th game of his career. Multiplied by all the innings. Impossible to say how much they're going to miss him. Defensively, Rick Jones says he has never coached a better third baseman. High draft pick, of course. 2 balls and no strikes.
It's amazing. This is almost like playing a game in Colorado. They finally figured out you play your outfield in, and if the ball's over your head, it's out of the ballpark. Look how deep they're playing here. If it's over you, it's gone. You may as well play in, take away the little chink.
Blowing out today. Friday night, Nebraska really had no win. And Tulane and Stanford somehow scored 24 runs with the wind blowing in. No home runs in that game.
Yeah. That's a manufactured ball game right there.
Just hammered to right. Adam Stern brings it in by the wall. The sacrifice pass was Kaplan making one back in Tulane. Stern makes a terrific play. The ball was almost over his head.
Like I was saying, when you play deep, you get a line drive like that, you can make the play. That was a bullet. So they know something I don't know. See how deep the outfield is playing. He doesn't have to go back very much. A nice catch. And that was a line drive. That wasn't a ball that got elevated. Gotro elevates that ball. We're looking at a 3-run homer. But nice play by Stern getting back. And a good piece of hitting by Gotro.
Nebraska struggled in the first inning against the Titans Friday. Gave up a 3-run first inning. James Juris, cleanup hitting first baseman. Junior from Lake Jackson, Texas, near Houston, who missed the first 19 games this season, broke his wrist in the 4th inning of the opener. Only recently, he's starting to feel like himself on the baseball field. He was 0 for his first 14 when he did return from the injury.
Well, wrist injury is one of the toughest injuries to come back in baseball because you have to have strong wrists to swing the bat, particularly in pro baseball. To swing a wooden bat, you use your wrist and your forearms an awful lot.
Pitch out, and Canada still not running. With 52 steals, are you surprised they haven't sacked him?
Well, with Gotro hitting, they wanted to give him the hole. So really, he's only had 2 pitches to run on so far, in my mind, as far as a base steal. Gotro, the left-handed hitter, so you leave him there. Now, he'll probably be off and running within the next couple of pitches.
Strike 2, 1-2. R.D. Spees swung a pretty mean bat himself in high school in Grand Island. Led the state as a junior, hit 17 home runs. And the son of a former Nebraska catcher, his father Randy, played in the late 60s, early 70s. Another pitch out. Both balls have been pitch outs.
Well, the other thing, when you throw a pitch out, the pitcher has to keep the same motion. If you speed your motion up, the runner's not going to pick anything up anyway. And that's what Dave Van Horn is going, hey, you have to go through your normal motion on a pitch out just as if you were going to deliver a regular pitch, or else the runner has no chance of
fouled into the Husker dugout, so it stays 2-2 to Juris.
Maybe we'll pick it up here after this pitch.
Plate umpire Gus Rodriguez, Tony Walsh at first, Paul Gillier at second, Tim Henderson at third. Amazero driven back to first.
Well, here's the last pickoff move. Once he spins, throws. He doesn't have a real big lead, but he's one of these guys that will walk. You see that a lot. He's getting ready to run right there, and he throws him. play by Dan Johnson right there. That's a tough play, Dave, because the sun is in his eyes the whole way. You don't have time to really look down and try to find where you're at, because you got to stay with the ball. So it's almost becomes a play of major instincts and feel. You see he's squinting and just stays with it the whole way. Nice catch.
That's a real Kodak moment. Right in front of the lenses to retired jurors.
Right up close.
Michael Aubrey was originally listed where he played Friday at left field. They decided at the last minute to make him the DH because he's also a pitcher, and he's anything like Friday, and yesterday for that matter. They needed every arm in their arsenal. Now Canizero. The all-time leading base stealer for the Wave and for Conference USA. Gunned down to end a one-run first.
Well, he doesn't have a big lead. That's where he gets thrown out at. It's not necessarily the catcher makes a great throw. It's right there. But if he has a bigger lead, he's going to be there anyway. Here's a great shot from the umpire's top of his hat. You see what the umpire sees. No doubt about it. They got him.
So the Wave on the double by Kaplan, the single by Canizero, sac fly by Gautreau, 1-0. Let's check in with the third member of our crew today, Dave Rice.
All right, Dave, a little hot down here. You know, it's from these very yellow seats, the section here at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha that Jeff Lisey, the Nebraska center fielder and a native of Omaha, basically grew up in the stadium watching College World Series games. In fact, he saw dozens as a kid. He tells me he remembers seeing J.D. Drew of Florida State, another future great major leaguer like Nomar Garciaparra from Georgia Tech. He also said it was an incredible reception his team got the other day when they played their first ever College World Series game here in Omaha in Nebraska history. He actually got goosebumps when the crowd was cheering him throughout the game. It was a bit overwhelming, as David mentioned before. Now, he and the other 7 Nebraskans on this Cornhusker roster really have to worry about not losing the first 2 games here. They don't want to go into, because in his words, it would be a big embarrassment. After all, Dave, what every Nebraskan wants to do when they're growing up is spend the middle of June right here playing on the field in the College World Series at Rosenblatt Stadium.
And they are the first Husker team to get to do so. Dave Van Horn brings them here, and we look at his starting lineup this afternoon.
John Cole, Ottawa, Ontario, capital of Canada.
Adam Stern, London, Ontario. Friends call me Blackjack.
Matt Hopper, Morrison, Colorado, home of Coors Field.
Dan Johnson from Coon Rapids, Minnesota.
Jeff Blevins, Sand Springs, Oklahoma.
Josh Hesse, Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series.
Jed Morris, Seabrook, Texas.
Will Bolt, Conroe, Texas.
Jeff Lisey from Omaha, Nebraska, and people call me the Cowboy.
They got a very balanced lineup, Dave, and particularly with Cole starting off. He's not your prototypical leadoff guy. He added some power. He hit 2 home runs the other night, but he can ignite you early.
7-1 left-hander, junior from San Francisco, Bo Richardson, the starter today for the Green Wave.
Well, Bo Richardson, he...
About one thing, nothing.
Said he's counting on one thing, nothing. I cut him off right there. But he will come with a fastball, curveball, and a change. Not your typical left-hander. He will challenge you a little bit more than most left-handers. You see the good numbers, though, 7-1. And an ERA around 4. As we've witnessed here in the College World Series, that's pretty doggone good.
6 is pretty good. College World Series. We have seen an unprecedented offensive display the first 2 days. The fielder John Cole leading things off for Nebraska. With a .423 average. And a leadoff hitter with some pop. 5th round pick by the Mariners, who has 11 home runs. 3rd most in anyone's lineup today. First pitch, strike from Richardson.
Well, he's got a very nice approach at the plate, he being Cole. Nice and relaxed, comfortable, short stride, and then just explodes. It allows him to stay on a lot of pitches.
0-2 quickly. Cole from Ottawa played for a high school that had no baseball team. So he made it here by virtue of his Connie Mack career. The man that hits number 2, Adam Stern, also a Canadian from London, Ontario, is really credited with doing the recruiting job to bring Cole. He came down and said, hey, this is a up-and-coming program. This is where you need to be. And they've been roommates their entire Nebraska's careers.
You know, he played hockey growing up. And I always encourage kids, play as many sports as you possibly can. It just goes to show.
Ball strike 3, and Cole retired by Richardson.
Well, let's take a look at the Tulane defense. And generally, you will look it up the middle. In this case, we're going to highlight the center fielder, John Kaplan. This young man will run down everything. There's not a whole lot of room in this ballpark, but playing in the Super Regional against LSU, he ran down a lot of balls in the big gaps. And it's nice to have a center fielder who can roam. It allows your corner guys to play on the corner a little bit more than they have.
Well, so far, nothing but strikes from Richardson. Adam Stern, another member of the Canadian connection. Right fielder hitting .293. Clearing the butt, takes the first ball thrown by Richardson. The Green Wave today hoping that Bo Richardson repeats his last outing. His first career complete game against LSU. 7-hitter, struck out a career high 9 Tigers. Ahead of Stern 1 and 2. Walked only 1. Their number 1 starter, Nick Bourgeois, lasted 4 2/3 against Stanford. The bullpen really got worn out. They're hoping that Richardson, with the 9 innings against LSU and 10 innings in the Conference USA tournament, shows that kind of staying power today.
Well, David Stern, not only a solid baseball player, but his next best sport he lists as ping pong. Good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, 3 and 2.
But back to the point, I'll make it real quick. I was getting ready to say this when Cole struck out. Being from Canada, they played a lot of different sports, and I encourage kids all the time to play as many different sports as you can. You don't have to select a sport right away. That will, you get to a point where you're in the senior year of high school, you have a pretty good idea what you can do or can't do.
Pretty good pitch. Gus Rodriguez sends him to first.
Well, the fastball from Richardson is kind of a slinging action. It reminds you a lot of John Candelaria, going back for some of you that don't know who he is. He used to pitch for the Pirate, the Yankee organization. Hides the ball well. But that did look like a pretty good pitch out on the outside corner.
The outside corner has been called much wider than that by every umpire we've seen so far. Have that one at the knees, but Stern, who was stolen 27 out of 31 bases, scored at first on a strike to the DH, Matt Hopper.
Matt Hopper has got tremendous power. Watched him take batting practice the first day they were here on Wednesday, and he was just drilling balls into the seats left and right.
Very nice move. Stern is back. I want to ask you, as we watch Richardson, the difference between a nice move and a balk move. We've seen both already here. Not by Richardson, but during the course of the tournament.
I'm following you. There's really not a big difference. He's got a nice lead. He's going.
He is going. Ow! And into the shortstop, Canizero, to get Stern stealing.
In the college game, a lot of times the base runner will guess. And if you widen your lead, now all of a sudden you know he's going on first movement. And that's exactly what he did. He went on first movement, and what I mean by that, if he lifts his pinky, you're off and running. And Richardson was able to recognize it because he took off so early. He changed his motion. He slowed it down and got the ball to the first baseman. So if you're going to go first movement, you got to get a big lead early and hold that lead regardless. You can't all of a sudden, when you're going to run, extend the lead because you're tipping the pitcher off. He's looking for tendencies just like you're looking for tendencies out of him.
Big threat erased on the base. Holding on 2 outs. 2 and 1 to Hopper. Proudly reminded us of Morrison, Colorado, home of the Rockies. Big 12 freshman of the year a year ago. With Nebraska freshman records, 21 homers, 71 RBIs. Home runs cut to 12 this year. RBIs increased to 85.
Being from Colorado, Dave, what do you think he likes to do in the snow?
You know, if you're a major leaguer, in the offseason, there's certain things you can't do. If he makes it that far, he would have to give up skiing. I don't know if a college player would have those same restrictions. You know what I'd do? I'd be hitting the slopes every spare second from Morrison, Colorado. Ball 4, the second straight walk issued by Richardson, who walked, as we said, only one LSU player in his last outing Sunday. So Dan Johnson, first baseman, cleanup hitter, Husker home run record holder, will get to hit in the first.
And he will take left-handed pitchers the opposite direction. He did that the other night. And even though the defense is shifting towards right, he'll still hit the ball to left field.
Ready the right field bleachers just in case. Johnson out-homering Darren Erstad. Best player to date to come through more recently. But Johnson's 24, the best ever.
I'm glad you brought up Darren Erstad's name, because Darren told me before I left home to make sure I told Nebraska players good luck. I told them that today, Darren. I know you're watching.
Here's your shout out.
There it is.
This is way up high, and Richardson continues to fight his control. 3-0 to Johnson. What Rick Jones has seen mostly from Richardson is much better control than this. 78 innings, 28 walks, and 62 strikeouts coming in.
You see the wristbands? That's the Darren Erstad wristband. You know, it's right above the elbow. The whole team wears them like that.
He's walked 3 straight Huskers, and if not for Stern being caught stealing, he would be in major trouble as the third baseman Jeff Blevins steps in, and the pitching coach Jim Schlossnagle will come out and try and settle him down. Now, he's pitched against LSU before a crowd like this, not quite this big, but certainly the same type of energy, same amount on the line. Maybe some would say more to get to the College World Series. People would say it's tougher than pitching Richie here.
Most people say that. I can't really attest to that. I think the pressure is always when you're here, you're trying to win. If you don't get out of the region, you just don't get out of it. But if you want to win it and you're a competitor, you continue to keep that pressure on you, because the pressure makes you perform better. But he's actually been around the plate. He hasn't missed a whole lot. He missed the last pitch on Johnson up and in. That was probably the biggest he missed, but he's been around the plate. Anytime a pitcher's around the plate, you're going to have a chance somebody swinging back.
We'll see if Bo regains his bearings. 2 on, 2 out, and Blevins. He gets a first pitch strike. His first 5 pitches were strikes, and now 12 of the last 16 have been balls. Blevins only 2 home runs, so there's a big power drop-off once they get through Johnson. Number 7 hitter Jed Morris has 6. Number 9 hitter Jeff Lacey 7. The home run problems after the first 4 hitters. And Gus Rodriguez falling a balk, moving Hopper to third and Johnson to second.
Well, he didn't stop. You have to pause, and they're really paying attention to the pitches. I remember a year in the big leagues when they said, well, we're going to start making the pitcher stop. All of a sudden, everything they did was a balk, and that's what we're going through in college baseball right now. But watch, he'll come up, and you have to stop to change the directions. He didn't stop long enough and hold, and that's why they called it immediate balk.
Strong position for Blevins, who sends one to left center, making the call, and Richardson, who fought his control throughout the gets out of it without the Huskers scoring. From Hattan with its third, he lost it to the Gallagher. Tulane hangs on to a 1-0 lead. 1-0 Tulane. We move to the second. Darryl, I can add to your body fat in about 2 hours here. I can double it. I'll just take you through cholesterol row out there.
I got me a bratwurst right here, buddy.
Oh, you're taken care of.
Pick it up here.
50 miles from campus. Nebraska fans finally get to root for their own. 10 years ago, Creighton and the hometown advantage from here in Omaha, and the Huskers in Dave Van Horn's 4th year. They've shown marked improvement every year in their 3rd straight NCAA tournament. They've been in 4 in the previous 108 years of the program. Michael Aubrey leads off the second inning the way John Kaplan led off the ball game. Rounds one just there for a double.
Tell you what, Michael Aubrey is only a freshman. And sometimes players come through Omaha and you can just hang a star on them. You're going to see them later on down the line. This is one of those guys. This young man is a tremendous player. Breaking ball first pitch. You see how he clears his body and drives this ball down the line. Obviously, great placement once again. So Tulane, leadoff doubles. Paid off in the first. We'll see what happens here in the second.
Kaplan scored after his. Number 6 hitter, right fielder Matt Groff, Fort Myers, Florida senior. A very productive postseason. 11 hits and has scored 11 runs. When he gets on, finishes the job. 28th round pick by the Oakland A's.
Cannizzaro did a great job of swinging to try to get the man over. Got the base hit. Remember, he was the second hitter in the lineup. We'll see if they try this time with Groff.
Paying close attention to Aubrey, who just extended his hitting streak to 11. Well, this Friday, what we saw was Tulane dominate the early innings. They led Stanford by 8-0. That one hits Groff on the back.
Well, I knew that was coming. The first pitch he missed. He's trying to pound him in so tight, so he can't get the man over. The first pitch missed just barely, and that one, as soon as it left his hand, you could tell the hitter was going to be hit by that ball. It's in that area where you got nowhere to go. And he's already standing on the plate with the job to try to hit the ball the other way. The pitcher understands the situation. He doesn't want him to try to get that man over. He just missed.
Speeds can get to the 90-mile-an-hour range. Groff takes that one on the shoulder. Jay Heights, who was the DH in the first game, switching places with Aubrey today. He's the left fielder and lays one down at the third base line. Jet throw pulls the second baseman, Josh Dissy, off the bag, and they are loaded. They got to it in plenty of time. He just didn't make the throw.
Well, he did, and the reason he rushes this ball because it's such a great bunt. And when you're playing against players you haven't played against, you don't necessarily know the speed. Now, right here, he knows this is an area that this is a base hit for most people. So he hops out and spins and makes a strong throw. But unfortunately, he doesn't know the speed of the runner. He's got plenty of time to get the runner, but he tried to rush. But it was such a great bunt, it forced him to have to rush.
So it's a sacrifice, and E2. Matt Groff, in a very brief rundown, tagged out by Will Bolt, and right away they get out of the bases loaded, nobody out jam.
Well, that's something you're going to see in college baseball. This is a play from the bench where the pitcher stands in the motion like he's going to throw a pitch. The catcher drops his glove, the shortstop breaks in behind, and the runner is dead. You always got to pay attention, particularly when you're the back runner. Those are the guys who try to pick up the cheap out on, and that's what they did. Great call by Dave Van Horn to go ahead and try to get somebody sleeping, and he did it.
Now, double play baller out of the inning. Anthony Giratano, the second baseman. Been about as hot a batter as they've had in the postseason. Postseason average has been about 120 points better than his regular season average, and the total now up to 349. 2 hits, scored 3 against Stanford, and a 5-hit game against LSU in the Super Regional. Was 8 for 12 in that series against the Tigers. Rob Childress, Husker pitching coach.
Steve's has great stuff, and he's just saying, you'll get a ground ball, you'll get out of this whole thing. Look at head coach Dave Van Horn. Tremendous call right there, Dave. The element of surprise. Caught me by surprise.
And obviously Matt Groff, too.
I need a ground ball on here, man!
Long ways from second base.
Huskers open for the ground ball from Giratano now. Look at third, throw at first. When was the last time you saw that actually?
Well, if the runner's running, it works. Now, because if you're going to steal a base, you have to go and get a good jump. You don't wait to see if, well, is he going to go to third base? You're keying on that bent knee, and that's what they're hoping. But it is I see it everywhere in the big leagues. I see it in college ball. It's a Bush League play in my mind. It's a balk.
Why is it a balk?
Because you're deceiving the runner. You're not throwing to third. All you think, they're stepping towards third, looking with their head to first base.
1-1. This may be right what they ordered. Bolt.
You said it. They got the double play that they were looking for, and by the first to third move, you freeze the runner, and you take away the opportunity for the steal, and then you get the double play. That's what you see in college baseball, perfectly executed by Dave Van Horn in Nebraska.
At 1-0, Tulane could be a lot worse for Nebraska. They wriggle out of the bases loaded, nobody out jammed. And they will send Josh Hesse, Jed Morrison.
The batter for the Cornell Series, the second baseman, number 5, Josh
It's warm.
Hesse.
It should hit mid to high 80s. And we're not due for the north wind, which blows in from left center until Tuesday. So conditions are ripe for high scoring to continue today and tomorrow. Bo Richardson had an odd first inning as Hesse steps in, senior from here in Omaha. Out of play, 1-1. He started with nothing but strikes, and then he walked 3 in a row. He got Adam Stern stealing for a big second out after striking out the leadoff hitter Cole, and then Jeff Blevins flying to center. He is the Nebraska threat. Richardson, according to Schlossnagel and Rick Jones, only effective, Harold, if he stays down in the zone with his fastball in the low 90s.
Pretty much every pitcher.
And then locates the pitch. Every pitcher that's not named Martinez or Johnson.
Absolutely. What I've been impressed with is he's pitched in and out. Now he got into a little bit of a trouble throwing strikes.
Committed for a leadoff single by Hesse.
And Dave, when he ran into problems, was out of the stretch. So we'll see if he's able to throw strikes out of the stretch as they put him into the stretch one more time. I'm going to take it another step further. I think the umpires are going to be on red alert for a balk. This young man's got a pretty good pickoff move. We'll see if they're on top of that.
Jed Morris, the catcher, hitting .338 with 6 home runs. Sophomore from Seabrook, Texas, Clear Lake High School, Houston area, Tyler Junior College. One thing Van Horn has done is really expand recruiting, not only to Canada, but of place where Nebraska football has succeeded over the years, but not necessarily their other sports. That's Texas.
Well, I think one of the things you can sell at Nebraska is the great facilities. And when the kid comes to campus there and sees that he has access to the football weight room, the workout facilities that they have for football, and an indoor facility that you can work out in, it becomes pretty impressive.
Facilities get even better next year. $33 million facility in downtown Lincoln. They will share with minor league franchise. This is bounced to the first baseman, Jury, who will get the lead runner. Hesse erased at second for the first out. Sad note from college football, pro football, USC fans especially. John McKay, greatest coach in the long history of their program, dies today at age 77. Took them to Rose Bowl after Rose Bowl, then went on to Tampa Bay in the NFL. Started the Buccaneer franchise. Invented student body left, the eye formation was trademarked in the 60s, and they called the balk and moved Morris to second.
See, a lot of times you pick the umpires off. The first time he went over this inning wasn't his good pickoff move. This time he gave a little bit more of a hesitation, herky-jerky, and the umpire gets picked. I don't think this is a balk right here.
Do you think that step is too far toward the plate?
It's no different than the one he did when he picked the runner off, and they threw from first to third, first to second, I mean.
Well, that is already the 6th balk call in this College World Series. Second of these first 2 innings today. So Morris in scoring position for the shortstop, Bolt. Lowest batting average, even if the record is in the lineup today, is 263. Another Texan from Conroe.
You know, when you get to this level, the caliber of pitcher with a pickoff move, and he's one of the better ones, he will be deceptive when you've never seen it. You see something different that you're not accustomed to being the umpire, it's going to look deceptive. And when you have a target on your back saying this is what we're going to call, everything's going to be deceiving to you. And it takes away a little bit of what they have, one of their weapons.
Gus Rodriguez behind the plate. Ready for the 0-1. Which misses away.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Will Bolt, I was going to say, started the pipeline for Texas. He was the first recruit from that state in almost 20 years since Turner Gill.
Well, with
great quarterback.
With that name, I'm not surprised that he bolted from Texas. Will
and he did bolt.
You know, one of the girls up here in the press box said, I would never date a guy with a name like that.
Not marriage material. Can't catch up to it. He's 1-2. Well, his parents, Bill and Debbie Bolt, have not let the miles deter them from driving to almost every game during Will's college career, junior. Richardson right back to it. A look back at second base. And Bolt easily retired for the second out in the 7th.
Richardson didn't even hesitate going to first base. To me, that's a pitcher knowing the lineup and saying, I got a left-hander coming up next. I think I can get out. I'm not going to chance throwing the ball away and extending the inning. I'm going to take my out. And I think that's a lesson they learned in the Stanford game. You know, they took the outs for granted, and next thing you know, Stanford got back into the game.
Nobody is happier to be here than Jeff Lyson from Creighton Prep High School here in Omaha, where he was 2-time All-State. Far back as he can remember, he's been right here at the College World Series. His family has had season tickets for over 15 years. Omaha product. He's an every everyday starter for Dave Van Horn. Great improvement over the fall, earned him that shot this spring. A solid freshman year. Last year, one of only 2 true freshmen to play regularly. 382 average in center field. Short right, chasing it out, making the over-the-shoulder catch. Giratano, as Morris comes home to tie the game at 1-1.
Well, Giratano showed some great range. He got to that ball, and I think he got to a point where he realized he definitely have this, and he kind of just relaxed. The ball fell in. Also, he's dealing with the sun on this play, Dave. But watch how far this young man goes to get there, and now he slows down, knowing that he has it, and just missed it.
They're kind of short-armed it.
Yeah. Right there, he knows I have a good shot at this. I think I'll catch this. And when you're running, your head will bounce up and down when you're not used to running at its full speed when you get into the grass, and I think that's what happened to him on that play.
Single and an RBI for Lyson.
That's the same move right there they call the balk on last time.
Are they in a position where they're either going to call a balk every time or only when it's most obvious?
I have no idea.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Back to the top of the order, John Cole, who struck out to begin the game. 2 outs, and Lacey, who has not been thrown out all year on the base pass. 17 for 17.
Well, there's a couple things that a base runner like that, 17 for 17, puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher. I kind of cut you off so you didn't get that number out there, so I figured I'd throw it back out.
It's out there now.
It's out there.
He's out there, stretching his lead at first. Richardson pumps.
The step-off move that he just pumped on is the toughest. It's a neutralizer for a big lead against a left-handed pitcher. Now he can do that snap move, and you have to honor that.
Pickoff attempt.
The reason, I'm telling you, the umpire got picked off the first time he saw it because he did not give him his good move. And then all of a sudden he came back with the good move, and the umpire said that looks different. It's a balk. You know, Lou Brock is not umpiring over there, so they're not necessarily going to be astute on all the moves.
2 balls and a strike. Well, how much fun was it talking about Lou Brock and Ozzie Smith for the home run challenge Thursday? That was a base running clinic that Lou Brock delivered.
What a treat. The one thing that really stood out in my mind was when he was talking about stealing bases off the left-hander. Most left-handed pitchers don't throw the ball hard to first base.
They said it was easier stealing off the guy looking right at it than the right-hander who has to wheel and put a lot more behind the pitcher.
I used to like to steal off left-handers because most of them will tell you before they even come to first base what they're doing. Either how they're looking at you or how they present their body. And they make up their mind ahead of time if they're going to go to first base on this play or not. That's why they're so surprised when they get called for the balk, because they've already made up in their mind, I'm going to first base. It's tough to say, I'm going to go ahead and go to first. No, I'll deliver a pitch. Then you don't throw the ball where you want to. So they have to make up their mind what they're going to do before they do it.
Richardson stays alive. Was there a pitcher that you never felt like you saw? You could never get green?
Scott McGregor, Flanagan, those guys were masters. And Frank Tanana would hang and wait to see what you would do. One of the few guys that would sit there and say, all right, you're going to move which way you move it. And he would just sit there and wait until you did something, and then he would either deliver the pitch or come to first. That's years of experience.
It's day 3 in the new College World Series record for total balks. And the balk this inning is what set up the Nebraska run. Ed Morris, who reached on the fielder's choice, balked to second and scored on the bloop single by Lyson.
But my advice to a pitcher with a good pickoff move like we saw John Smith the other day and this young man here is you tell the umpire before the game, here's what my move looks like. Now you allow him an opportunity to read you himself.
Lacey headed for third. The throw by Groff saves over Coco. And alertly backing things up is Richardson to hold the runner at third, Lacey.
Well, one of the great things about college baseball, Dave, is positioning. They're always in the right position. Right there, Richardson, great job of getting behind third base, going to where you need to be. Now, I'm surprised that they challenged Groff. Groff's got a cannon, and when he picks up the ball right here, I'm surprised Lacey went. If he gets this ball down with a normal throw, you're out. You don't want to make the third out at third base. Fortunately, it was a bad throw, but Richardson, the pitcher, right behind him in position, actually saved a run right there.
Single with Cole taking second on the throwing error by Groff. You saw a great look at Lacey, fully intending to score until he sees Richardson in place to get that quick carry. Right center field. And can't come up with it. Lacey home. Cole home. It is a two-run triple for Adam Stern.
And he was flying. You talk about a clinic on base running. That's a great play all the way around, Dave. I love the effort in center field. It's a ball that you got to dive for. Gets a breaking ball, stays with it. Watch the effort by Kaplan in center. Tremendous dive, and watch how quick he gets back up. All the way out, he's going to get right back up. Right fielder Groff backing up. He'll get to the ball. Lacey, excuse me. Stern was lost there for a second. Was going for three all the way as soon as the ball's hit.
Swung on and missed by Hopper. The Nebraska lead on the two-run Adam Stern triple. 46th, 47th RBIs of the year. Hopper got as far as third after his first inning walk. 0-2.
The one thing that Tulane did not want to do is allow this crowd back into the game.
Not starting him up today because they thought they might very well have to get him up in the early innings out of the bullpen, and sure enough they had. All 2 strikes to the DH Hopper.
Richardson still looks like he has good stuff. They haven't blasted him. Going along pretty good. For what we've seen the last few nights, I got to stick with him a little longer.
Rick Jones said that as Stanford ripped into his staff from 8-0 down to winning 13-11, he really thought that it was more a case of great situational hitting by Stanford than poor pitching by his staff. He's still pretty happy with the job his pen did overall. Just stays alive, 2-2.
That's being real optimistic.
Well, Joey Sharon in particular, who took the loss, had been involved in virtually every win for Tulane in the postseason as a reliever. Really unusual. And they got to him as soon as he came out. He just said they were staying back, driving it better than anybody had. 3 on Hopper prevents any further damage to Will Richardson. But he gives up 3 runs on 4 hits in the Adam Stern to give the ball rescue. Day 3 here in Omaha. If you haven't been able to keep track of the first 2 days, well, first time ever a sitting president attended the College World Series. George W. Bush throwing a strike. Nebraska enjoyed its first appearance until the result came in. They lost a 1-run decision to Cal State Fullerton. And yesterday, Mark Pryor, the top pitcher in the country this year, the player of the year, shut down Georgia while Miami outlasted Tennessee in a record 4 hours, 21 minutes. 34 runs scored. The Hurricanes had 21 of them. So the record for longest nine-inning game lasted a day. 4 hours, 18 minutes it took Stanford to beat Tulane Friday.
You were saying that 4-hour and 19-minute game that you did kind of didn't seem like 4 hours and 19 minutes.
It seemed more like 350, 355. No, once Stanford woke up after their red-eye experience coming in and having to take an 8-hour bus ride from Chicago to get here. It took them a while to kind of gain their bearings. Once they got most of that game, every pitch had something riding. And then they come back, take the lead. They tie the record for biggest comeback in a 9-inning game. But with nobody out in the 9th, Tulane has the tie runs in scoring position. And Jake Brooks, who I think has had the best pitching performance in the series so far, comes in, retires 3 straight. This is Scott Madden, the catcher. Freshman from New Orleans who earns the starts here because he was swinging a hot bat coming through their regional and super regional. Regular season, he was just 4 for 21 with 3 RBIs. In the postseason, 14 out of 38 and 9 runs batted in. 2-2 to Madden. Tulane with 1 in the first. Nebraska answers 3 in the second. Ready some rally caps. The Green Wave dugout. R.D. Speeds. This is with a breaking ball. 2-2. Slider, his out pitch. Right now, Harold, are you seeing the change of speeds that he'll need to survive?
It's going to be important that he comes up with a breaking ball because you're not going to throw a bullet by good hitters. He's got good stuff on the fastball, but he hasn't been able to get the hook over. They'll sit on that all day. Says it grazed him.
Yep. Would have been ball 4 anyway, but it's a hit batter. Scott Madden to first. The 2-minute drill is back and better. Now easier to play at home with enhanced TV and new celebrities and athletes to ask the questions. Join host Kenny Mayne as the tournament progresses Tuesday nights on ESPN at 7 and 7:30 Eastern. Have you got the answer? You ever been a panelist on that?
Not yet. I was supposed to do that during this time, but I'm here in Omaha, and I'd rather be here than sorry, guys. I enjoy this.
Top of the order, John Kaplan. Cue to lead off the just fared on the left line and then scored on Jake Gotro's sacrifice fly. He described his dive on that triple by Stern Kirk. Not only does he run flat out, lay out, try and get it, but he's on the ground half a second at most and then scrambling to get it before it can get anywhere near the wall, and it didn't.
Well, you were talking about Ozzie Smith. That's how Ozzie used to dive, catch a ground ball. He'd be up so quick and get rid of it. That's what he did right there. He dove, got up, and went after it.
Start him and slowly the pitbull is a great play. First and Kaplan just out. As Speeds covers. Works like a sacrifice bunt. Kaplan almost beats it out.
That was this ball is really a tough play. Nice play by Johnson because this ball is squibbing, coming at you. It's got this little spin. Normally a ground ball will top spin more, but this had the side spin. He did a great job of smothering it using both hands. Ooh, wow. It's close. I don't know. I guess the foot is on the base before the other foot gets down, so that hurt.
It's really surprising that Kaplan didn't sprain his ankle.
Either one of them. You see that in the basketball game. Most of the times that is a twisted ankle.
Scoring position, though, for Madden. Andy Cannizzaro singled and then caught stealing.
I really like this young man, Cannizzaro. Nice looking player.
Yankees thought so too. They picked him in the 7th round last week.
He does so many things right. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He understands the game. Last time he's situational hitting. We'll see him swing away this time. And I suspect if he gets that same pitch on the inside half this time around, he'll probably turn on it.
Check in with Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave, thanks. Jake Gotro of Tulane, the star third baseman, is on deck, and his mom, Pam, is joining us now. How tough is it to be the minority in this huge partisan Nebraska crowd? Can you make noise to get Tulane going?
I think so, and they've been so wonderful. What can I say? There's enough of us here. We can make a little noise. Yeah.
Jake had a great career at Tulane, was selected 14th overall by the Padres, which was a surprise to you. Is that correct?
Very much a surprise. The Padres were sleepers. We had no idea. We had certain teams that we had been talking to and thought were going to choose him, and what a surprise when they came in. It was great.
You told me during batting practice today his team had never blown an 8-0 lead like they did in the first game of the College World Series, but they were confident they could come back. You feel the same way?
I sure do. You bet. Of course. Of course.
We'll enjoy the rest of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jake Gotro will be a Padre farmhand pretty soon, guys. Going to go right to the minor leagues after the College World Series.
Caller 7 Goat. He's a pitch away from stepping in, a run-producing situation.
He's a nice young man. I got a chance to talk to him a little bit during the season. I started calling him Jake the Rake.
Jake the Snake is way overused. 3-0 to Canizaro. Coming through with a strike. Jake Gotro, a key 2-run double in the 8th inning of Tulane's comeback after they had fallen behind the Cardinals.
Well, I started to tell you about this young man. We'll talk about Canizaro here in a second. If he hits a fastball inside down, he's driving.
Shot at this, Harold.
Nope, not going to get here. Just below. But what I was saying about this young man is short. He catches the ground balls, particularly the routine play. Very smart player, and he continues to situational hit. He's continued to grow. There's a lot of things that the Yankees obviously like you were saying, but everybody likes it. I think if you saw him play, he's the type of player you watch him over a period of time, you appreciate him even more.
First 3 hitters Stanford never really solved on Friday. Tough strikeout here. Canizaro only 21 in 292 at-bats. Speed 3-2 is off the fists and foul.
Go back and get another piece of lumber on that one.
That's one area where the aluminum bat helps the speed of the game. Doesn't have most areas, but you're not going to go and replace aluminum bat. That's a major league bat right in the teeth. He's again coming to 3-2. And a chopper to Blevins at third. Number 2, and Gotro will hit with 2 outs, and Madden still at second.
Well, it'll be interesting how they approach Gotro. He smoked the ball to right field for the sacrifice fly. And obviously here with down 2 runs, a 2-run homer will tie you. Let's see if they try to pitch around him a little bit. Maybe get him to start to chase a ball instead of sitting there. Get a good look at the outfield. They're playing him deep again.
I've seen him come through more often than not. Win record 93 RBIs this year. He's trying to stay outside with him and just off the corner.
Well, it's interesting. They're going to live on the outside half, but the whole defense is turned around towards right field. Even the second baseman, look where he's at. He's playing out on the grass. The shortstop's going to move over in this area. They're playing him to pull, yet they're going to pitch him away.
Bouncing in front of Morris. He gets past him as Madden moves up to third. On the wild pitch. R.D. Spees in the third with glance down to the bullpen. See that Justin Picard going to get left loosening in case further trouble arrives.
This pitch right here will tell us everything. Go after him or put him in.
They went after him.
little breaking ball. That's why he was out in front of it. But he was looking at half. 2-0, looking for something inside half to drive, and a little bit of a breaking pitch. So telling you a lot. You're not going to challenge him, not going to give him a whole lot to hit. Hopefully he will make a mistake and swing at a bad pitch is what they're hoping.
With those numbers, and with James Juris with only 1 hit so far in the series, no chance what's anything. It's a weak pop-up right on top. Outstanding job by Spears battling back after he hits Madden while pitches into third. Still 3-1. Biggest clutch pitching performance so far in the College World Series, getting out of 2 in scoring position, nobody out in the 9th inning on Friday. Brackett won the winner of this game, the first team eliminated from this College World Series. Tonight, the winner's side of the draw, Stanford takes on Cal State Fullerton, and the ace Kirk Sarloos on the mound for the Titans. Bracket 2 resuming tomorrow on ESPN2. Tennessee and Georgia battle in that elimination game, and they're followed by USC and Miami, who were both winners in the opening round. USC over Georgia, Miami over Tennessee yesterday. Warm Sunday afternoon in Omaha. The Nebraska half of the third led off by first baseman Dan Johnson, who walked his first time out. 3-1, but some nice escape pitching by R.D. Spees. In fact, last inning by Bo Richardson after the 2-run triple by Adam Stern. He left him at third by getting Matt Hopper on a called third strike. So
I'm gonna give you a name.
Game. This is a relatively low-scoring game.
Yes, it is. And I'm gonna give you a name that Dan Johnson reminds me of. Go back a little bit. Rusty Staub.
Oh,
look at how he stands. Watch his stance in the swing. So much of him.
Le Grand Orange. So he left the Astros and became first baseball superstar in Montreal.
Man can hit.
Dan Johnson, more blonde than a redhead. Some of the similarities. Even in the face a little bit. Rusty Staub, Louisiana. 3-2 to Johnson.
Got the socks. He probably doesn't even know who Rusty Staub is. No offense, Russ. If you're watching,
you should. Richardson's 3-2. Johnson down on strike. Third strikeout for Bo Richardson.
Third baseman, Ray Jeff Blevins.
Well, here's a good look from the side. I mean, that is dead on Rusty Staub. Now, Rusty probably might have hit that ball. He struck out a few times himself. Every good hitter strikes out every now and then, but that is a good looking swing.
And Johnson, so many power hitters, leads his team strikeouts. That's his 49th of the year. Strike one to Jeff Blevins, who flied to center to end the first.
Now listen to Blevins' superstition. No girlfriend during the season. Baseball will get in the way.
Baseball. Yes.
Oh, you can tell.
Where is it? So he bolts before it even becomes an issue. Real bolts moving up to his name. It's never even going to come into play for Jeff Blevins. 3,000. House Rosenblatt Stadium. Blevins providing some souvenirs. We're going to go at 2. Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Texarkana Community College. He used to come here as a teenager, vowing to his father he would play here one day, and sure enough, here he is. He lifts one to Jay Hines. The easy second out. So far, clean third inning for Bill Richardson, who's battled his control. 3 walks in the first. Costly balk in the second, which put Jed Morris in scoring position for Jeff Lysey's RBI single. Richardson settling down as Josh Hesse steps in. He singled his first time.
Well, he ran into trouble out of the stretch, and a lot of times when you're not having good mechanics, or you don't get into a rhythm, you end up in the stretch and it settles you down. It didn't happen in his case. But he has settled down. It seems like after he gave up the triple, he really got into the flow of the game.
And that's what they expected, based on his work coming in. Against LSU, the 10-inning outing against USA Tournament. For his last 3 outings, he's been their best inning here.
A little tighter zone tonight from Ken Eldridge than we've seen here in the College World Series.
Call strike, 3-1.
Gus Rodriguez behind the plate.
They made a last-second change. It was Ken Eldridge listed originally as the home plate umpire. Rodriguez calling time. Josh Hesse. Pretty good pitch here, and goes after the 3-1 pitch, lifts it to left center for John Kaplan. And Bo Richardson really settling into a nice rhythm, retiring the Huskers 1-2-3 in the third. So we're through 3 in the elimination game for the Greenway Lemon Huskers. Into the fourth, 3-1. R.D. Spees with a 2-run lead. R.D. Spees, according to his coach, Dave Van Horn, the team's resident comic and impressionist, as we get an all-access look.
Give him a little Harry Carey for the fans.
All right. Hello again, everybody. This is Harry Carey along with Steve Stone on Chicago Cubs baseball. It's a beautiful day here at Wrigley. Don't let the storm mislead you. But the Cubs are losing 16-1. But they got the bases loaded, nobody out. Leon Durham at the plate. Anything can happen.
Not bad.
Very good. Very good.
All he needed was the glasses.
I like the enthusiasm.
Doesn't every team have to have somebody who keeps it light? You know, at some point you have to get the tension breaker, and he's the guy that provided it all year for Nebraska. James Jury's the Tulane fourth.
Best line was, "It's a beautiful day in Wrigley."
Don't let the storm
Don't
fool
let
you.
the storm fool you. Harry was special, wasn't he?
Jury's popped. Foul ground to first time up, and after 2 balls, Jed Morris quick move to the mound. Who's the guy that you played with over your years who was best at keeping things funny off the field?
I think Mark Grant was one of those guys. Roy Thomas, pitcher, reliever in Seattle when I played there. Always keeping everybody loose. Darnell Coles. But Darnell had one of those personalities, just funny.
Backing out, short left is Bolt. The Jury's, who singled his first time on Friday, 0 for 6 since then. And now the same kind of rut he began the season in. He was 0 for his first 14. That's the first time that Spees has retired the Tulane leadoff man. Kaplan in the first double. Aubrey double in the second. He hit Madden in the third. Now Aubrey hits. Base is empty and bounces the first pitch to Dave Johnson. Spees covers quickly. 2 outs in the fourth.
Oh, you like those quick innings.
Hey, we'll give Marty Aronoff on this. I don't know in any game yet there's been 2 1-2-3 innings.
What, do you think he learned a lesson? Watch how quick he gets that foot out of there this time. Jumps out of it. Gets stepped on again. But go ahead. What were you saying about Mr. Marty? Dr. M?
Any of our games yet have featured 2 1-2-3 innings. This is,
I can't see it.
This is maybe going to happen if you can get Matt Groff.
And between you and Marty, it's not going to happen. You just jinxed it.
We'll test the jinx.
Right. I know Marty's on the reverse now.
Tunnel syndrome. 8-hour doubleheaders. Groff, after being hit in the second, was picked off. Strike. Jake Pauline had 2 1-2-3 innings against Cal State Fullerton Friday night. So right now that ranks as the best stretch by a pitcher here in Omaha. The Bears have been dominating in record-setting fashion.
Well, I think Dave Van Horn's got to be really pleased with his pitching so far. I mean, obviously today, home for Waterloo. The other day, losing the game to Cal State Fullerton, a pretty good offensive club, only giving up 5 runs, particularly the way Khomeini started off the first 3 innings.
The 8 teams combined hitting a collective 373 so far in the tournament. There's one in the call, strike 3 on Groff, 2-2. Slugging percentage 636, on base percentage 431. And they've averaged over 20 runs per game, both teams combined, in the first 2 days of this College World Series. And this is 2. The count runs out. The ERA for the first 2 days, 10.32 on average.
You want to hit right now. Goodness.
In a row, retired by Spees. And his first strikeout. The reverse jinx worked. Doesn't happen often. Spees keeps it 3-1 Huskies. It's going to be steady business in the lemonade line all day long. A very warm, breezy Sunday afternoon. Temperature expected to peak in the high 80s today in Omaha, Nebraska, after overnight showers.
The batter for Nebraska.
Perfect field conditions again inside Rosenblatt Stadium, as Nebraska will hit in the 4th with a 3-1 lead. Dave Barnett, Harold Reynolds, Dave Ryan. Day 3 of the College World Series. And our vast research staff, as Jed Morris, the catcher, steps in, has determined that the only consecutive 1-2-3 innings so far in the series, Nebraska in the bottom of the 8th got Cal State Fullerton in order, and Nebraska retired in the top of the 9th in order. And Fullerton not batting in the 9th. Nebraska retired at the bottom of the 3rd, Tulane top of the 4th in order. Only other time that's happened in this College World Series. And we have yet to see one fly out today with the wind blowing out to left and good hitting conditions again. Chase down, even with the dive, juries can't quite get it. But again, Harold, you have to applaud the effort.
Yeah, they're going all out. Tremendous effort. This is a very difficult play. The ball starts to cut on him, and now he makes up his mind right here. I got to go ahead and lay out. Call that the old college play, college try.
Robin Ventura played here, college player of the decade of the 80s, Oklahoma State, said the best thing about playing in the College World Series is you're all together with a heart. There he's illustrated that mindset. That effort, 2-2 to Morris. Cause bigger than yourself. draws today. Still to Gotro.
Nice piece of hitting, considering they stayed inside on him and then they go back outside. Gotro. Ball right there.
5 in a row retired by Bo Richardson. Ever since the 2-run triple by Stern in the second. Will Bolt. Bounce back to the mound his first time up. He looks at ball 1. Nice streak of retired hitters by Richardson. 5th hit of the day by the Cornhuskers. They hit it on the nose twice here in the 4th.
Yeah, he smoked that ball. Fastball down and in, and just a nice short stroke. No chance for the shortstop to get to that ball. This is where things started happening for the Nebraska order, this part of the lineup.
Jeff Licey single, drove in a run, scored in the 3-run Nebraska second. Squaring and takes ball 1. Well, you like a 384 average at the bottom of your order. Looking like the proverbial second leadoff man. Another guy who can run. Bolt back at first. He's like Licey, never been thrown out this year. He's only tried 7.
Here's what area he's trying to bunt the ball in. He's trying to come right in this area. See where Gotro's at. He's got to come here, make a throw, and come back across the diamond. So it doesn't matter how close he might play. You still want to go down the line if you want.
Pops that one up right into the Tulane dugout. 1-1. Licey has 9 successful sacrifices, tied for first on the team with Stern and Brandon Eyman. Proven ability to move the runner over. Richardson will keep Bolt where he is.
The umpire has not been fooled since the bunt call. I really believe he was fooled on that call because he hadn't seen it before.
Tony Walsh is used to it now and not likely to call it again.
It's not going to be as deceptive to him because most umpires say I saw something different, and that's why I called the bunt.
Now to the plate and outside. One to Licey. Hometown favorite, Creighton Prep.
Good time to drop a bunt down third.
Throw stays put, and he pops it to short center. Kaplan for the second out. And Licey retired to bring up the top of the order, John Cole to left field.
What's the runner at first base? He's given a bluff of going back because he's not going anywhere. So in college, they call that the little jab step, and you know you're automatically going back. When he decides to run, remember, they go on first movement a lot of times. Now you're off and flying, and that's kind of a way to disguise the fact that we're running on first movement.
John Cole singled, advanced on the throwing error by Groff and right. One batter later, scored on Stern's triple. Third, Nebraska run. Now, even if Bolt was thrown out, they still lead off the next inning. Oh,
right.
Stern would have to wait then.
The way Cole is swinging the bat, and with the left-handed pitcher who's already picked one guy off earlier, you would think they're going to let Cole try to swing the bat. So I don't think Bolt is going to bolt.
You don't think Bolt bolts here? They bolted the first. Only Dave Van Horn knows.
They play a different game than what I think.
They hit, he popped it up. Right field, Roth coming in, fighting the sun. And the one-out single by Will Bolton does no damage in the Husker fourth. With 4 complete in the College World Series elimination game. To the 5th, R.D. Spees protecting a 3-1 Nebraska lead. Let's again go backstage and join Spees again on the Nebraska bus, all access.
That's some big league hair. Coach is trying to restrain me to 2 inches on the top, you know, making it nice, you know, up above the collar. I got my own beliefs on that.
I get to deal with 25 guys every day, and so it's kind of nice coming home to all girls. You know it? To handle guys all day long, come home to girls and relax.
Yeah, where hair is much less an issue.
Yeah. Spees is character, man.
He is as advertised. Dave Van Horn said, yeah, he thinks he's pretty funny. Well, he is.
He's got a future.
With the Harry Carey. Heinz, Geritano, Madden, bottom third of the order in the 5th of the Green Wave. 6 in a row set down by R.D. Spees. First ball hit. Chopper. Johnson on the system.
And they've hit the first pitch, the first 2 hitters last inning, the first hitter this inning. You got to make him work a little bit. Early in the game, they got him out of his rhythm, and they got decent pitches to hit. They only have 1 run, but they had good swings. Now they're going up pressing a little bit, and this is where the game starts to get away from you. They're already into the 5th inning, and run out of time. Now is when you start to feel the pressure. You got to make him work. And they had the Nebraska pin up.
He's only thrown 52 pitches. We've seen entire innings with 2 pitches. He starts Geritano with a strike. Richardson, 5 hits, 3 walks. Hughes has only struck out 1, but he has not walked the batter. 0-2. He's retired 7 straight. 8 of the last 9. The only exception, Madden beyond decade, who was hit with a 3-2 pitch leading off the 3rd. Van Horn said he hoped to get 4 or 5 innings from Spees, but on the pace he has established, that may turn into 7 or 8. Maybe this efficiency.
They want to get this young man out with a breaking ball. The toughest adjustment for freshmen is now you're going to see a little bit more of a tilt on the breaking pitch. During the regular season, they're going to come after you. But when you start getting the playoffs, teams have a better scouting report, understanding of what you can or can't hit. And hitting is nothing but recognition. The more breaking pitches you see and able to recognize, the better hitter you're going to become. Here, he's had trouble with the breaking pitch because he's facing some of the top pitchers in the country. And they're not going to just lay a fastball in there for him to hit. It's only for show. Breaking pitch is the outfield.
2-2 down in the zone, but Geritano goes down there and gets it. And the first base hit, in fact, the first ball out of the infield since Michael Aubrey's leadoff double in the 2nd.
See, Spees wasted the 0-2 pitch, and then he came back and bounced the breaking ball in 1-2, and so he's forced to be in a fastball count. He came back to the fastball, and Geritano did a great job of staying down through that fastball and slapping it to left for the base hit.
1-out single, bringing up Madden, number 9 hitter. Geritano, a decent stolen base threat, 11 out of 18. First man to reach since Madden was hit. Back in the 3rd, Madden looks at a strike. Wave, Omaha again coming out in full force, even when Nebraska's not playing. Stadiums where every sentence of the came true for both these teams just to get here. No Conference USA team had ever made it. Tulane had never made it. Nebraska a step short in the Super Regional last year. Broke through this year. Either wants to have 2 and out, something quickly back home on just the 3rd day of the series.
And third baseman Blevins was saying to be an embarrassment. They were eliminated 2 games. I think just getting here has been quite an accomplishment, particularly for this program to be put on a map at a football-dominant school that in the middle of the country. It's not like USC or UCLA, that's big football schools also, but they have the weather to perform and play baseball year-round and develop baseball players. Nebraska is not known for that.
Well, it won't be the last time. Based on the momentum that Van Horn has had his 4 years as the head coach, and with the new stadium, grass-only facility.
They will be amazed at what the College World Series will do for their recruiting. The exposure is incredible. There's some high school player out there right now saying, man, they got all that at Nebraska. I may have to look into that.
A year ago, Harold, they had 60 season tickets, 2,000 already for next year. Back over the screen by Madden. That's establishing a program.
And to be able to keep the in-state students at your university is important also. And he's done a great job with 9 guys from the state of Nebraska in the program.
And going north and south to get some key Texans and Canadians. Well-rounded recruiting program. Garetano taking his lead at first. Sharp single by Madden. 2 on with 1 out on the top of the order, Kaplan. Nebraska got here for the 2nd year in a row, reaching the Super Regional. But for the first time, succeeding to advance. Hometown crowd for each of those first 2 rounds. A good Rice team eliminated in 10 innings. 5-4 loss to the top seed Cal State Fullerton Friday night. In what until today has been the best pitched game of the series. This will be better. The continues.
You're right. They're throwing strikes. I mean, if you get ahead of hitters, you can see it at any level, college, high school, even in the pros. You get ahead of the hitters, you got a chance to get them out. You get behind, they're going to pound you.
Tying runs aboard for Kaplan. Part of the game is a double. Scored the only Greenway run. Bounced the first last time. And again, Speed starts out ahead.
The bottom of the orders, both teams have really made this an exciting game. They're the ones who have been the trendsetters, and when it gets to the top, it leaves us in anticipation as to what might happen.
Not bad, but not a strike. 1-1 for the 3rd time in the left-hander this year.
He got up the other day also. It'll be interesting to see what he has in the tank.
Not many opportunities for the Green Wave offense. Important one here. Gets by Morris.
That is a huge play because you take away the double play. Unfortunately, they were able to get the double play in this situation before when they were 1st and 3rd, last threat that Tulane had. This time, you move it up, you got Kaplan, the leadoff guy. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen here. That pitch right there, you go back and look at Speed's day. At the end of the day, if he ends up coming out of this ballgame, that pitch right there might have determined it.
Wild pitch. He's hit 2 batters, but has not walked anyone. when he's missed, he's really missed. Now they're both in scoring position, and Kaplan should get a hitter's pitch at 2-1, and that one's high, and it's 3 balls in the strike. So Tulane can't be sure how many more opportunities they'll get. You'd think they'll get one every inning the way this series has developed, but not the way this game has developed.
The 5th inning is always the toughest inning for pitchers to get through. It is the inning of record. And I'll never forget, in 1990, Jim Lefevre pointed that out to me. And ever since then, I've started the last 12 years, I've looked at that, and it becomes a thorn in their side. They just seem to not be able to get through the 5th. I mean, obviously some do and get the W, but it becomes a very difficult hurdle.
That's a remarkable ball-strike ratio for a guy who hasn't walked anyone. Almost half his pitches have been balls. That breaking ball catching the outside corner, according to Gus Rodriguez. It was not had, I don't think, quite as wide an outside corner as we've seen here.
Oh, and as a hitter, you're keyholing on something on the inside half right there, so it looks even further off the plate than it actually is. But that might have missed a little.
Two is popped back on the roof of the press box.
That's as close as it's going to get right there.
You got about 5 gloves in your locker here. You didn't go for it, so that was going to be out of play.
I figured I didn't want to. This is a beauty right here. I probably would have been able to make the play with this.
That's your second base glove?
This is a little deep pocket, but this is probably more a third baseman's type of glove. Good glove, though. Rollins, nice job with this one.
Right at the ready. Blevins third base glove. Another 3-2. Weak grounder to short. Bolts. Slow getting up.
Quite a collision right there.
He ran into a large human being, Dan Johnson.
Ran into a linebacker trying to. Just felt like a little guy coming around. You got that guard pulling coming after you when you're one of the corners. That's what that was like.
Boy, head first too.
Johnson 6'2", 215.
Job by him to make the tag, keep the concentration, although he knew he was going to have Kaplan right in his midsection. He does get the RBI to make it 3-2 and move Madden up to third. Now Canizaro single in his first 2 trips.
They got Kaplan listed 5'8", 170. I'm going, come on. There's a little gnat.
Canizaro, senior, with a whole slew of Tulane season and career records. He became their all-time hit leader Friday. So leads them in career doubles, stolen bases, at bats. Quite playable, just on the screen.
Canizaro has been their hottest hitter down the stretch, and he's come up with some big clutch hits for him. And you know, when you hit foul balls like that, when you're cold, they come back to the catcher and they get caught. When you're hot, they end up just scraping the net and you get another pitch.
He is hot. He's got a 15-game hitting streak. 500 hitter in this postseason.
Mercy. That's not 1 for 2. That's 32 for 64. That's quite a few at bats. That's a pretty good track record.
7 plate appearances. He's been retired twice in this series. 3 hits and a walk Friday. That is well hit, but it's going to be well fouled.
A lot of people will say, yeah, I hit 500 in the postseason. 2 for 4. I remember one September I got called up and I'd go home and people say, well, how did you finish up the year? I said, I hit 300. It's 3 for 10.
3 for 10?
You know, I hit 300 this year. 3 for 10.
You got to tell them your stats.
Well, you throw that in there and you make yourself, if it's not that good, you go, well, I didn't get that many bats. But if it is good, 3 for 10, you don't tell them 3 for 10, you say 300. That's the key.
Oh, how you couch it. Run home for Tulane. Madden at third. Speeds with the 1-2. Morris has had to hit some wide reaches on the pitches this inning that have missed. One wild pitch, which has played a very important role. He got Geritano to third, where he could score on Kaplan's ground ball. This is wild, 2-2 with 2 out. To right center, chased back by Lacey. Got it on the run. And Tulane leaves another at third. 3 Green Wave runners have died at third. Kaplan's grounder produces their second run, though. Green Wave narrow the gap to 3-2.
NCAA welcome center drawing. They are. From Omaha.
3-2, bottom of the 5th. Sun-splashed afternoon, which has Nebraska clinging to a 1-run lead, hoping to stay alive here in Omaha. Loser go home elimination game. Tulane got here by winning some home regionals in New Orleans and then in Metairie, where they played in the Zephyrs home stadium, the AAA New Orleans affiliate, and had to fight back against LSU, which was 1 win away from returning as defending champions, but lost back-to-back to the Green Wave, 9-4 and 7-1. 8-0 lead erased by Stanford in the 13-11 game. You're always going to have the LSU presence here. Much success they've had. Career of Skip Bertman, who now has moved aside and takes over the athletic director's job.
Well, what some of the Tulane players are saying, fortunately we beat LSU, we got their rooms. They always have sold-out hotel rooms for LSU alumni and whatnot, so they got the extra room.
They also said that there's a good crowd Friday as Stern steps in off his 2-run triple. Did not have the effect you'd think. The largest they played before, but relatively quiet. They were used to a madhouse in that LSU series. They said they could have easily moved it to the Superdome. It was front page news, and not just the sports section of the front page. Throughout the state, it led newscasts throughout the state. Rick Jones said there were people driving to the park without tickets just to sit in the parking lot and listen to it on their car radio, just to be around the atmosphere.
It becomes a happening.
Stern's chopper to Canizero. The long peg for the first out of the 5th.
Well, one thing, looking at the road that Tulane made to get here, all the runs they scored. I don't think 2 runs is going to hold them. This is a pretty effective offensive line.
Jones said he thought his team would react better, even though they're going to have everybody yelling against him today, just to have more noise. They'll feed off that energy, even though it's all pro-Husker. It'll take a few hundred Green Wave yards. Hopper goes after the first pitch. Jones will do it on the system. Quick outs. Cole Richardson continues to, at this point, have as good a stretch as we've seen a starting pitcher have in the series.
Really have.
First baseman number 15, Dan Johnson.
He has retired 9 of the last 10 Nebraska hitters. Only 1-out single by Will Bolt in the 4th. Now Dan Johnson, who has has walked and struck out. Just missed 1-1. Johnson, baseball, hockey. Two-sport player in high school, Coon Rapids, Minnesota. Started his college career at Butler University in Indiana, then a year at Iowa Western Community College. Platoon player last year, only starting against right-handers. Blossomed into a full day or full time every day offensive warhorse this year. And he also goes right through the 5-hole. A 2-out error.
Well, he actually got in between. It looked like he might have been looking at the runner and also a little bit confused about going down underneath. You're at first base. You don't have too far to go. Go ahead and go down to the knee and block the ball. You got caught in between. Should I field it standing up or should I go to the knee? You have to go ahead and go immediately to the knee as opposed to trying to do it there. And that's where he lost it.
The second green wave error. No damage as Perkins rounds weakly right back to Richardson. Huskers get a base runner. They haven't had too many of those since they scored their 3 runs in the second. Richardson has been very impressive. R.D. Spees was very effective for Nebraska. They figured he would go 4-5. They have pulled him after 5 with a 3-2 lead and gone to a freshman left-hander out of the bullpen.
My name's Justin Picard. Come from State Porch, Nebraska. Left-handed pitcher. I live in a small town, about 250 people, so this fired me up.
More people in one section of this ballpark in his entire hometown.
I like how he delivered it.
Just his 3rd appearance, first since February 18th because of an elbow injury suffered while working out. He can hit low 90s with his fastball. He is a walk-on who has gained 30 pounds and 10 miles an hour on his fastball since enrolling. R.D. Spees, 2 runs on 5 hits and throws only 74 pitches, but 23 pitches to get through the 5th. And he gave up the second lane run with 2 singles and the RBI ground out by Kaplan. First batter for Picard. A lefty-lefty matchup. Jake Gautreau 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly in the first, scoring the first green wave run.
Well, Gautreau, they're Mr. Everything. And the finalist for College Baseball Player of the Year, won by Mark Pryor of USC. He and Chris Burke, Tennessee shortstop.
Gautreau, the first-team All-America third baseman. Show a lot of confidence in Picard, don't they, with only 2 outings all year before bringing him in today.
Well, they were hoping that they would get him back earlier in the season. He's got great stuff and obviously a tremendous amount of confidence facing this young man in this situation.
Gautreau launching one to right. Back is Stern. Our first homer of the day, 21st of the year for Gautreau to make it 3-3.
Well, we talked about it in the open. The big boys are stepping up. Today was the day for the big Bob. And probably not a bigger home run in his career than that one right there to tie this ball game coming in the College World Series. Got behind this, drove it. He's not sure. He thinks he got it. He got the little Sammy Sosa hop in there. Stern just runs out of room. Wasn't able to make a climb. If he was able to get a little more momentum and climb that wall, he might have had that. But a big clutch home run by Jake Gautreau has tied this ball game up in the 6th.
First baseman James Juris has popped out twice. That's just the 2nd hit allowed this year by Picard. Juris can hit one out too. Now Picard has only worked 7 innings, but had only allowed 1 hit before the Gautreaux homer.
Well, I didn't think 2 runs was going to hold this club. They're just too good of an offensive team. 1 through 9. They've got 8 players with 40 or more RBIs. When you have that kind of production through the lineup, you're going to score a lot more than 2 runs, even 3.
One pitch is fouled of the dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Juris, the '99 National Freshman of the Year, as a second baseman, not first baseman. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
Thanks. James Juris in the Tulane lineup. A little bit of a vacancy, though, with Steve Shirley not playing. Tulane players are wearing the number 5 on their hats for their injured teammate Shirley, who had fractured his ankle sliding into second base in a Tulane game April 27th. And that ended his Green Wave career right there. After the mishap, his teammates showed up in the hospital all wearing his signature shell necklace. They all had one on to really show their emotion and their real feelings for their teammate. Now he has a leadership role. He's really going to be missed. So first team All-Conference USA with 9 homers and 56 RBIs. And in front of their preseason media guy, that means he's one of the best players. He told me a few moments ago how tough it is for him to watch his teammates not being able to go out there. A lifelong dream of his to play the College World Series. And I just got to sit and watch him go.
I can't even imagine what he's going through.
That has got to be incredibly tough to play such a key role. He would be cleaning up and DHing today.
Plus, he helped build the program to where it's at, and not to be able to reap the benefits of coming to Omaha and playing really has to be him up.
To sit there and know how much he could be helping.
I got to give him some credit for even sitting there and being here. A lot of players can't do that.
It's too painful to watch, so they stay at home.
Yeah.
Sometimes even can't bear to watch it on television, but Shirley will contribute the only way he can.
7 innings.
As long as Tulane's in this series. Gautreaux has put him right back into this game with a leadoff home run. He's out of play, still 3-2.
Tell you, Dave Ryan is Johnny on the spot, isn't he? I'm surprised he wasn't over there to catch that Gautreaux homer. He is everywhere.
Surprised we haven't caught him out in cholesterol central buying himself a brat.
Well, he's probably headed that way.
Another 3-2. This is inside, and Picard is unable to retire either of the first 2 hitters after he comes in for Speeds.
And I tell you, here comes Aubrey, and I have just enjoyed watching this young man hit. He's probably one of the best hitting freshmen I've seen come through here in the 4 years I've been doing the College World Series.
Michael Aubrey doubled in the second to extend his hitting streak to 11. Friday against Stanford, his 11th 3-hit game of the year.
You know who he reminds me of? I'll bring him a little more modern. He reminds me of Todd Helton.
You can't make a more complimentary comparison to a left-handed hitter.
Yeah. Look at him. I mean, even in the face, they're very similar. A lot of similarities.
Todd Helton of Tennessee, happy to see his alma mater here. Now, there's going to be, I would think, some second guessing. Speeds had only thrown 74 pitches, although he did struggle in the 5th. Picard, only his 3rd appearance of the year, first since February 18th. 5 hits, did not walk the batter. He threw about 50% balls.
Well, one thing I do know is that these coaches seem to have a plan and an idea of what their kids are capable of, and anybody has a pulse on it, they do.
That's what it comes down to. They had a lefty-lefty to face Gautreaux.
And even more so, college coaches don't worry about lefty-lefty, righty-righty as much as the pro game does. They go a lot more on instinct. It's their program. They're not answering to a general manager or a president of a club where you got a $30 million, $40 million payroll saying, why'd you make that move and not use my guy? It's their gut, and they understand that and understand their players, and everybody seems to get along. It's different.
his freshman from Staplehurst, Nebraska, in a situation unlike anything he has ever found himself. Now, Gus Rodriguez is not going to let this be a very long conversation.
No, he's knows that you got to make a decision here pretty quick. Now, I find it interesting, the rules of college baseball. The coach is allowed to go to the mound 3 different times to have conversations with the infielders and the pitcher. But he was not after the 3rd one allowed. But just like in regular baseball, 2 times to the mound in 1 inning, the pitcher's got to go.
3 visits total, regardless of how many pitchers you use in 9 innings. And then if it goes extra innings, 1 visit for the entirety of those innings. If it goes 22 innings, you get 1 visit. No immediate dividends. Ball 2 to Michael Aubrey. Tom Ott, Brandon Peñas continue to loosen in the Husker bullpen. Green Wave tie it. An RBI ground down and lead off home run by Gotro here in the 6th. And 3 to Aubrey. You would think he can't have Picard out there if he can't demonstrate the ability to throw the strike. With 2 loosening up. Spees more than doing his job, going 5 innings. Turning the lead over to the bullpen.
Well, this is probably his last hitter regardless. I think they got the matchup that they're looking to try to hopefully get.
And a ball. Will send Juries to 2nd.
Well, I didn't see what he did. We'll have to take another look at that. See if we're able to pick up what the umpires picked up. But 3 umps picked it up, so he did something.
Continue to shatter the College World Series record for total balks. That is 7. 2 in this game. 6 days still to go in the series. Now he comes through with a strike.
You're wondering how hot it is. Look at his cap. He is ripping. Well, here's a good look at the box. We'll see what he did. He started and then he stopped. I don't know. You see anything?
Just bounced his hands a little bit. The only thing I saw.
More of a natural. I don't know. I didn't see it there.
Sharp single back through the middle by Aubrey. Here comes Juries with the go-ahead run for Tulane, and the Green Wave take a 4-3 lead in the 6th.
Remember this young man, Michael Aubrey, some kind of hitter.
That will be it for Picard, who gives up a game-tying home run, a walk, a balk, and a go-ahead single. Tom Ott, normally the closer, will come in the 6th inning, and the Huskers suddenly trailing. With some power by Gotro. And clutch hitting by Aubrey in the 6th for the Green Wave. Justin Picard, in just his 3rd appearance of the year, does not retire a batter, gives up a homer, a walk, and a go-ahead single to Aubrey, and so he gives way to the junior, who is normally the Husker closer.
My name is Tom Ott. I'm a right-handed pitcher. I'm from Milton, Florida, and I compare myself to Mike James because we have the same throwing motion.
29th appearance, and one of the top save totals in the nation. He did make 2 starts and held opponents to just a .226 batting average this year. He was picked in the 10th round by the Dodgers. So Ott inherits Michael Aubrey at first, and will face Matt Groff as we again look for the ball.
Well, I think it's not the right time to start calling balks when they get to the College World Series if you haven't called them all year. And I understand they're trying to make a point, But this is the World Series, and sometimes you can be a little more lenient. If it's an obvious situation, you call it. But right there, this is a game-changing call.
Strike one to Groff. Both balks today, one for either team.
I mean, that's not that obvious.
Runs.
We're looking at it on replay twice, and I really can't tell you where the balk is at. And that's going to affect the whole outcome of this ball game. I think it's got to be something that's really obvious in order to call it.
Groff's bunt stays fair. His throw gets away. Aubrey to third. The ball's in the bullpen. They're going to wave Aubrey home, and it's 5-3 Tulane. And that ball gets away as Groff reaches third on a bunt.
Well, you make the other team handle the ball, and that's what pressure will do when you put the ball in play. Great bunt once again. It looked like they had it covered, just a routine play. Watch, great bunt, gives himself up. Levens is there, he just made a bad throw. And you'll get that from young players sometimes. Remember, these guys, that ball just looks like it may have even slipped out of his hand. It just is down the line before he released it. That little bobble at the end, you saw it rattle in his glove, may have caused him not to get a grip.
Jay Heights, a bunt-like effort. Johnson makes the tag. Finally, the first out. And Groff will have to remain at third. Only one error charged on that play where Groff was able to go to third because the ball gets loose in the bullpen. And then coming out of the bullpen, not a good throw. 5-3, 3-run scoring here in the sixth for the Green Wave. And Giratano grounded into a double play and then singled. Wild pitch to third, scored the second run back in the fifth. The infield in. Pitch from Ott. Finds the corner.
Nice pitch, will change up off speed on the outside half.
Ott is a guy that likes the ball in the tough situations. He wants the ball. And unlike so many closers, he can go more than one inning, or 2-3 innings if it's a close game.
Well, what's interesting about a closer in the college game, most of these guys have been starters that just happen to convert to closing because they have the ability to come back and bounce back.
He was a starter when he transferred from James Madison last year. Sharply but foul, still 1-2. Ott was the Virginia High School Player of the Year 3 years ago. Greenbrier Christian Academy in Virginia Beach.
Well, Dave, we've talked a lot about momentum, and that throw down the line just took the wind right out of the sails. This place is dead.
Furtado still trying to get one down the opposite way. Well, Tulane said they wanted a lot of noise, and right now they're the reason there's no noise. They rally from 3-1 down to 5-3 up.
Well, the one thing that Tulane knows is that they will score runs, and that in itself is nice, and it's comforting to know as a coach that my team's going to score runs. I believe Nebraska feels that. That's why Ott is in this game. You got to stop the bleeding when you have an opportunity. Foul ball slapped down the left field line. So often, closing situation doesn't mean it's the 8th or 9th inning let's end the game. It's when you need it most, and this is when they needed Ott to come in and shut the game down.
Van Horn seeing him time after time try and go the opposite way. A huge hole in right center field. They did not expect him to pull it. They had what they wanted. It goes under Bolt. Comes home. Infield in and an Adam Brown ball. Bolt can't make the stop.
Well, perfect placement, just not able to execute. Gets a fastball down, hammers it. This ball just got through him. Did everything possible to try to knock it down.
They're calling that a base hit, Harold. Sorry, that's right at him. And it's right where he wanted it. Giarratano a hit and an RBI.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is infield in with aluminum bat. They're thinking maybe reaction time. But he himself probably had that ball.
Madden has not been retired. Hit by a pitch. Singled the second time. 4-run inning. Still only 1 out. Richardson has been such a long inning. He's supposed to keep the left arm loose. He hopes he has a runner going on the hit and run man and fouls it off.
Catcher Morris coming out of the crouch to get that ball on the throw. And with the backswing, got hit on the backswing.
Seen this happen a couple of times in the series.
Well, it's a breaking pitch. You see him come up to go get it. I mean, he got whacked, got a whole back on that bat.
Should say it was a little higher and got him in the helmet.
Now, as a base runner, you know what I'm doing right now? I'm getting a little bit of a lead, and I'm looking at the catcher to see how he positions himself. A lot of times, if he's up in the box towards the plate, he's telling me it's a breaking pitch. If he stands back, it's a fastball. Right there, obviously, that was a breaking pitch. You can do those little things when you're standing at the base and not too far off. Look at the pitcher, but pick up the catcher. He'll tell you a lot of things.
That's best pitch is the slider. Madden goes the other way and dumps a fair ball down the right field line, which will send Giarratano scurrying around to third. 4th hit of the inning.
Well, they get a lot of hits in bunches. I talked earlier, Dave, about the effectiveness of this lineup with 8 guys with over 40 RBIs. It tells you everybody swings the bat pretty good. What did you say the team batting average coming in here was?
339.
Pretty impressive.
Highest point all year. 9 hits now. 4 in this inning against the Husker bullpen after R.D. Spees departed after 5. Leadoff hitter Kaplan. A double, a run scored, and an RBI ground out. 1 for 3. Little blooper right on the bag at second for Will Bolt, out number 2.
If Nebraska can just get back in the dugout, they have enough offense to stay in this ballgame. 3 runs, we've seen those leads evaporate quicker than the water in this hot sun.
So with on the corners, Giarratano and Madden, now 2 outs. Greenway bat around, and Andy Calazaro, the 9th hitter in the inning. Showed you earlier the 1, 2, 3 hitters did so much of the damage against Stanford. This afternoon, it's Giarratano and Madden, 8, 9 hitters, who have been on 5 of 6 appearances and are a combined 4 out of 5.
You know, another thing that's happened is Nebraska, they got themselves out of jams with pickoffs and holding the runners or whatnot. We have not seen that when Tulane started putting the pressure on them this inning.
1-1 for the Tulane all-time hit leader. And we'll probably not be able to point to a more important hit if he can come through here. Add to a 6-3 lead. Not with that third and first move.
See, that's what I'm saying. When they do that move, they're not thinking about throwing a ball to third base. And it's not just Nebraska. I don't want to pick on Nebraska. That's everybody in pro baseball, in the minor leagues, everywhere.
Calazaro, a sinking line drive. John Cole runs it down, but a big inning as Tulane breaks through, beginning with the GoPro leadoff home run against the Lurica Park. He ignites a 4-run inning, 6-3 Greenway.
Welcome back to Rosenblatt Stadium, brand new to the College World Series this year. Some more history being made. It's Omaha Steaks. It's one of the best steak sandwiches you can get anywhere, not only in the country, but in the world. Sir, I'll take 3 of those, please. We got 1 for myself, 1 for Dave Barnett, and 1 for Harold Reynolds. Fantastic. This is with onions. I'm going to take a bite of this, and I know Harold's ready for some. We've also got some barbecue sauce we could put on it, some mustard as well. And there's a catalog, too. Can I get one of those, sir? You can order steaks, get it put in dry ice and into a cooler, and send it anywhere in the world overnight. They've got a pretty good selection of varieties. So I'll bring some sandwiches up to you guys, Dave. You'll be all set to go.
Hey, medium well, Dave.
We'll hold you to that. Big cheese on mine. Thanks, Dave. Josh Hesse leads off as Groff fights the sun and right.
Boy, great job by Groff. You saw him use the glove to block the sun and then get his body off to the side. Not only sunglasses, but you use your glove as a shield. Stayed a long time. You end up seeing a little dot in the sunlight, and you just got to try to stay with it. You see him get off to the side. It's a very difficult sun field. Did a great job of keeping his glove there. And what you do immediately when that ball is hit, you stick your glove right in the sun, because you know where the sun is at. It's not going to move on you. The ball will move, but the sun doesn't. So immediately you put your glove in the sun and block it, and then try to find the ball. Great job.
That's what he's looking at, and I don't think he can have a tougher ball.
Excellent. You know, we were playing a game in Detroit, and Alan Trammell hit a pop fly. He was going out to the right. I was playing second base. I was going out after the ball. And I sat there, tried not to panic, and knew I didn't have it, so I cleared out. The ball dropped in. And the next time, I said, all right, if this ever happens again, you stay with it if it has to hit me. Well, sure enough, they bat around, Trammell comes up again. He hits another fly ball, same ball, I kid you not. I go back, I flip my glasses down, I'm standing there and I'm telling myself, I'm gonna stay with this ball if it has to hit me in the bam! It hits me right off the side of the head and shoots down in the bullpen for a trip. I'm like, never again.
In mid-thought. Couldn't even think the sentence through. 2-2 to Jed Morris. Well, I mean, of all the emotions you can feel on a baseball field, panic is not one that you normally associate with the game, but in those situations.
You know, a guy throws a fastball at you and you get out of the way, it can be fearful, but nothing like a fly ball in the air and not knowing where it's at.
Hit hard, but well fouled.
They're taking good swings now, and that's a sign of a pitcher starting to get a little bit tired, leaving the ball out over the plate. Now, Bo Richards has done a tremendous job of hanging in there. 96 pitches.
There it is. Won't get this one way out of here. Home run number 7 for Jed Morris.
They better get the bullpen popping quick, because the fly ball to right was a pretty good swing. The ball he lined down the line, and then that home run, obviously, that's a great swing. They've got the offense, game to stay in this ball game.
And the question may now arise, does Tulane have the bullpen?
The fastball right down the middle. He knew he got it. He crushed it, no doubt about it.
Only question, would it stay in the park? Richardson, over the previous 3 to 3rd innings, had given up only 1 hit. Had not walked the batter. But after Hesse's fly ball to fairly deep right field, Morris jerks one out of here, and now Will Bolt, who's 1 for 2.
And that's why we saw Ott come into that inning trying to shut it down, because Dave Van Horn knew we have the offense to get in the game.
Double-barreled activity down the Green Wave pen. 2-0.
Well, Aubrey's been up a couple times. That's the left-hander.
Now he's joined by Barth Melius, the right-hander. 3-0.
Better get somebody hopping. I think they've got the maximum out of Richardson you could ask for.
His last 2 outings, 9 innings and 10 innings. He runs into trouble.
Here's where you got to have an infielder or somebody needs to go in, stop the game, give the bullpen a chance.
You talk to the pitcher, you stall a little bit.
Tiger Woods became the first golfer ever to own all 4 major titles at the same time and looks to make it 5 straight majors in the 101st U.S. Open Golf Championship. With 2 periods of coverage both Thursday and Friday, you will not miss a stroke. 8 p.m. on both Thursday and Friday nights. ESPN presents a 3-hour re-air of the day's best action Thursday at noon and 5 p.m. Eastern. Friday, the second round from Southern Hills in Tulsa, also noon and 5 Eastern. And at 8 in both cases, Thursday and Friday nights. So conference time after Richardson's first walk since the first inning when he walked 3 in a row before finally getting out of it without allowing the run. You think that the long top half of the inning threw him off? We saw him stay loose, go out in the bullpen. Is that playing any part in it?
I think it might, but also the fatigue that. Dave, we got a great one going.
They're going to leave him in to face the left-handed hitting center fielder, Jeff Lysy.
This will probably be his last hitter if he gets through this hitter. Sometimes you'll see a guy get yanked before he throws the pitch. But he has an excellent pickoff move, and that's the other thing you think about as the coach of those Jones. He knows he can hold that runner with his pickoff move.
In this College World Series, that's a good line you just saw for Bo Richardson. But the tying run at the plate in Lysy, who has hit 7 home runs this year, has the RBI single in the 3-run second inning today. There's a strike.
Very interesting. He showed bunt the first pitch, and then we'll see how they apply what they're going to do here. They're going to hit and run, or maybe cut it loose, or just continue to see what happens. Let the inning play out.
High 2-1.
He's giving you maximum effort. What do you think, Dave? He's going long. He's giving us a good ball game.
Well over 100 pitches. 2-2. And this College World Series, you get anybody over 100 pitches. That's a bonus. That's saving your bullpen. 5 pitches right now until the middle late innings. And not very many teams have had that luxury.
Well, especially he had runners up in the second. He had to pitch the bullpen up in the second inning. Gave up 3 runs in the second, and after that, he was shut them down.
Playable. Foul ground. His son is Jury's, but he has it for out number 2. So that is the last batter that Richardson faces. Does the job to get Lysy.
Well, it doesn't look like that. I don't know if I leave him in to face Cole. I want to give Cole somebody else to see. This young man, we've seen him a few times, and he can hit.
Richardson struck him out first time we saw him. Got him to fly to right last time. In between, singled, advanced on the error by Roth and right, and scored.
2 home runs in the first game, but dead center.
Home run number 1 against the Titans. Straightaway center field. And a bit later, also. Left center field that time. Never know either one. Look at the 2 longest shots we've seen.
Very impressive.
1-1. His 10th and 11th homers of the season. 464 postseason hitter with 5 of his 11 home runs.
See, and this is where that Stanford game ends up hurting Tulane because you're trying to stretch the bullpen. And that's exactly what Coach Jones is doing right now. He probably, had they not gone into the troubles they faced in Stanford, Bo Richards would probably be out of the game by now. But because they struggled so bad against Stanford, he's trying to stretch the bullpen out to maybe give them a chance to pitch later on in the series if they're able to hold on and win this game. But there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, you can't really be worried about later on in the series. There is no later on if you don't survive today. Huskers trying to keep this 2-out, 6th inning rally alive. Battle back to within 2. Can't check his swing. Richardson stays in, fights through it, and allows only the Morris home run. So through 6, he's still ahead. 6-4 Green Wave. On to the 7th. 6-4. Tulane over Nebraska. Shouldn't that waiter be here by? Here he is.
Wow.
Dave Ryan. You know what?
Man, what's the deal? You bit out of this one.
Yeah,
you're killing me.
That's yours. All right, the catalog. I'll make my future orders out of this. I'm a little bit short, Harold. Got your cash money with you. Take care of them.
Actually, I give him a tip.
That's outstanding. I would like a tip. I would like some more water.
Actually, go
check
get me a
back,
Pepsi, please.
Check back in the ninth. Check back in the ninth for dessert. Got it. Outstanding. Good job,
Dave, you are everywhere. You are doing an unbelievable job.
Service with a smile, too. Green Wave.
Dave
the
Ryan.
7th. With Gotro. Who started their go-ahead rally. Leading reliever Justin Picard with a home run in the 6th.
Can't believe he took a bite out of it.
Well, actually, I can. Known him a little longer than
You know, all the little nuggets that he adds, the stories, talking to the parents, it just brings so much to the broadcast.
You're the mayor of Omaha. He's the hardest working man in Omaha. He's around for all night of both day and nighttime action.
Well, every mayor has an assistant.
I'm just your PR officer.
There you go.
Hot. His full inning, I believe. Only behind Gotro 3-1.
Well, Gotro, the one ball he did see on the inside half of the plate, drove it out of the ballpark to tie this thing up at 3.
Hot worked through further trouble in the 6th. They could have had much more before they got there. A solid single up the middle. Second straight hit for Jake Gotro.
This kid can hit, man. You know what he does so well? He's got great balance and plate coverage. Break him down. Look at this young man. We're going to see him for a few years to come. 14th pick, San Diego Padres. See how he stays on this ball. This ball is actually outside half. He's looking to drive it. Look at him stay on top of this. Nice short stroke. Good follow through. Great balance. 14th player picked in the draft. First round pick of the San Diego Padres.
Let's see why. Now Juris. Pop-ups. Go down from Morris. Diving back. Now last time up for Juris, he walked. He was balked to second, where he scored on the RBI single by Hawk. Huge play.
That is the difference in the game right now, the balk call. And you know, I'm really pretty strong about the fact that here you are in the College World Series, and it's almost like being in the NBA Finals, or anything. Someone has to argue with an umpire or with a referee. You give them a little more leash to deal with because you don't want the umpire or referee to have the final outcome of the game. I didn't feel like in that situation, you know, they're calling the non-stop or whatever. Unless you've told the kids ahead of time, it's tough to really make that call. That's just my opinion.
Well, that was the game-tying run. Jeff Blevins in for a word with Hot. And it kept the inning going. Groff laid down a sacrifice. Blevins sailed his throw way over first. Groff would reach third. And his bunt. Down on strikes. Here in bracket 1, the loser of this game will be the first team eliminated from this College World Series. And tonight in the winter side of the draw, Stanford takes on Cal State Fullerton and their ace Kirk Saarloos. Bracket 2 resumes tomorrow on ESPN. Tennessee and Georgia battle in that elimination game, and then followed by USC and Miami, who both won in the opening round. USC over Georgia, Miami 21-13 over Tennessee last night. Did that go into the early morning? Was that ball last night? It was a long evening. That 4-hour, 21-minute, 9-inning contest. Big day for Aubrey. Double single, RBI, a run scored. Go-ahead run, in fact.
Really impressed with Ott. He said he likes to sling the ball a lot. Reminds you of Mike James. He really does.
Correct one thing. It was Juries with the go-ahead run. Aubrey the first insurance run. And then Goff the sixth breakaway run. We're in the sixth. Compared himself to Mike James. Right. Have to bring those sideburns in a little bushy.
I was going to say, that would be the only difference, but maybe they're not allowed that since coach does have a 2-inch rule on top of the head with the hair. They may have a sideburn rule also.
Meanwhile, as a psychology major, serious student, first team academic all Big 12. The Big 12 has had a bad run in the College World Series. If Nebraska doesn't come back and win this one, that's 13 straight losses in Omaha for Big 12 teams since Oklahoma's sweep through the '94 championship. 6 subsequent Big 12 teams have failed to win a game. Johnson. Out. For the double play.
Very nice play. Great execution, and that's why you take infield practice right there. That's just a reaction play. Here it is. You see the first baseman Johnson, nice tag, steps on the inside half, gives the shortstop a great target. Tremendous double play. We got a good one. 6-4 Tulane.
We're in the stretch at Rosenblatt Stadium. Moving to the bottom of the 7th. The difference right now, the 4-run 6th inning for Tulane. 6 on 10 hits, both teams 2 errors, 4-run 6 hits allowed by Bo Richardson, who, somewhat to my surprise, is still in the game to work the bottom of the 7th to Adam Stern, Matt Hopper, and Dan Johnson. Left-handed hitter Stern has a walk, a 2-run triple. Right now, the big hit in the game for the Huskers in their 3-run second.
I have to tell you, I'm really stunned that Bo Richardson still has this ball game.
He settles down. Second straight ground out by Stern. Jones shows confidence in him. He knows he can go deep 9 to 10 innings each of his last 2 starts. In his 12 starts this year, they've won 10 of them. He was 7-1 coming in. And now well over 100 pitches.
I'll be the first one to say that these coaches know their players a lot better than I do.
Well, after the Morris homer and the Bolt walk, he's retired the last 3. Easily. Foul pop by Lysy, strikes out Cole. Ground ball by Stern, out to DH Matt Hopper. 0-2 with a walk and a strikeout. 3, 4, 5 hitters. Heart of the Husker order. 0-7 together. Deep right center field for Kaplan. McGraw on the track. In front of the wall, Kaplan.
About as far as you can hit a ball without getting it out of the park. Kaplan's got great range. Watch the jump he gets on this ball hit. Checked out where he was at. Stays with us, felt the on the track. Nice little close.
His coach calls him as good a defensive outfielder as he's ever coached. Jones has been around some good ones.
Come on, they got him listed at 5'8".
Spikes. Johnson lifts it deep right, making this call. And Kaplan says fan interference. Fan interference will not be the call. Home run, Dan Johnson. He is going to get an argument from Rick Jones on this one.
What an incredible effort, though. I guess they're calling it. I don't know what they're calling. Now he's calling it an out. No, he was always saying the ball was in the stand. No, but he was always pointing that the ball was out of the ballpark. He had never one time said that there was interference in any way. He's been consistent with what he thought he saw anyway.
Second base umpire Paul Tulane.
Well, the one thing I will give Paul credit for is he went out there. That's the biggest argument you have with the umpire is, do you get out there to see the play? He got out there all the way and was right on top of it. So this is the other thing you contend with. You don't worry about that during the regular season. You get a great look here. That's
yeah. Kaplan with his lead can't reach it. It's a good call by Paul Tulane, the second base umpire. And it's a 25th home run of the year by Dan Johnson. And it's a one-run game.
Fan interference is by definition when they interfere with the play. There's no interference. I don't even know if they come onto the field to play. They don't. They're not even reaching down onto the field, and there's no way they're going to get up and get that ball. I don't know if MJ is getting this ball right here.
Well, Jeffrey Mayer, JM, isn't out there.
Absolutely.
Kaplan, does all he can to be convincing. But a good call all the way on a homer by Johnson.
Again, I reiterate, how hard on the umpire.
No way!
When they get it right, give credit. No right there. I got to give Paul Tulane all the credit for getting out there and getting himself in position to see the play clearly, and he never one time fudged on what he saw. He always said the ball was out of the ballpark. Great call.
If it's right on the top of the wall or slightly beneath the top of the wall, that's where the controversy would have come. But in this case, it was well over. And Kaplan jumps as high as he can and still can't come within a couple of feet.
Great effort, though. I mean, you gotta love the effort by both of them. If he came down with that, you know what it reminded me of? Freddie Lynn and Brian Downing. Remember that collision that used to be on baseball highlights? Those two catching the ball in Anaheim.
Oh yeah. Well, it would have reminded me of Ken Griffey Jr. if he'd come down with that.
But great call by the ump.
Maybe if he's 6'8" instead of 5'8". So now a one-run game for Jeff Clevens, who's 0 for 3. Hopper gets it as far as you can without leaving the yard. Johnson does it one better.
And how much confidence does Jones have in this young man pitching? Nobody's in the pen. Well, now they're going to start to trot down, and Aubrey's going to throw for about the 5th time in this game.
Top foul. Clevens now 1-2. Runs in each of the last 2 innings. Johnson here in the 7th. Souvenir winner. He made a nice catch, too. 21st pitch. Keeps it at 1-2.
Bullpen down there starting to scurry, but yet nobody's throwing. Now Aubrey's going to start getting loose. So up and down, up and down.
And he's joined by right-hander Melius. Friday with such confidence, Joey Sharon has not loosened up yet today. In 6 postseason games, Sharon came into the series 5-0, a 1.08 ERA, and saved the game he didn't lose. He was the losing pitcher Friday against
well, somebody's got to close this game out if Tulane continues to be in the lead. This is only the 7th inning. I say only because we've had some long second halves of ball game.
50 minutes or so. Last 2 days, we've been around the 5th inning.
Yeah, it's been great action. Great action, too. A lot of things happening. Home runs, nice play.
This is one hit to left center field. Kaplan again races back and has plenty of room this time. 3 consecutive deep drives. Over the one by Johnson clears. And the Huskers, with home runs in back-to-back innings off Bo Richardson, have made it a 1-run game.
And there's nowhere I'd rather be than back home in Omaha.
Back at Rosenblatt, Dave Barnett, Harold Reynolds, Dave Ryan. Bracket 1, Tulane and Nebraska playing to stay alive. Tonight, 7 Eastern, ESPN2, Stanford and Cal State Fullerton, who won their first Omaha game. And then bracket 2 tomorrow on ESPN, Tennessee and Georgia. That's an elimination game. USC and Miami were winners yesterday. So they play at 7 Eastern, ESPN2. Dan Johnson, every time he homers, sets a new Nebraska single season record. His 25th of the year makes this a 6-5 game. And Kaplan may need a breather. He spent the entire last half inning racing back to the wall. Hot out for another inning of relief. Swung out and missed by Matt Groff. To be followed by Jay Heinz and Anthony Giratano in the top of the 8th. Shot has been effective. It was the first batter he faced in the 6th. He reached third on a throwing error by Blevins at third on a sacrifice bunt, scored an unearned run off Ott. Since then, Ott has allowed 3 singles, but no more He pays a heavy price for the first out, and we're going to have to get the trainer out. Sharply hit off the aluminum bat. He has almost no reaction time.
That hurts.
How long does this hurt?
As long as it needs to. Pull it right back up the middle and right in the middle.
Well, at least is able to finish the play before collapsing.
Be down for a while. You know, those aluminum bats, this is the reaction time. You know, you worry about the pitchers more than anybody else in the game when you're using the aluminum bats because they're drawn so close.
Well, I guess this is as good a time as any to draw you into this conversation. Why not power down these aluminum bats to the same distance as a wooden bat? Aluminum bats are all right. They're going to save programs money because they're unbreakable. That's what the kids are used to from T-ball on. But with this much offense this early in the series and an injury like that, what possible argument is there for keeping the bats at the same level of power?
Well, the difference is, here's the wood, here's an aluminum. Obviously, we all know what that looks like. They've tried to taper the aluminum bat to where it's pretty much comparable to a wood bat. The difference is the aluminum bat is so light. You know, I can hold a bat on the knob, a little guy, and still get the whip. Look how big the barrel is. Look at the difference in the barrel.
Well, you estimated for me the other day that it's at least 20 feet deeper drive to the outfield than a wood
guy. For a big guy, it is. But you know, on the defense of the aluminum bat, the reason it is in the game, economics for one, and also with this is a different game than the pro game. And the guy that's 5'5", I'll give you an example. A good friend of mine, Mickey Riley, I grew up with, 5'6", second baseman at Oregon State as a switch hitter. Great college player. But he didn't get a chance to play pro baseball, but it's college baseball in its purest form. It's almost like saying, take the option out of football. Don't no longer have the option quarterback. It's not a pro game. It's a college
college game.
Isn't it like a 9-foot goal in basketball, though? Even Dave Van Horn has said it. Games yesterday got out of hand. When it's 4 hours, 21 minutes, 34 runs in a 9-inning game, even the Husker coach said,
yeah,
maybe it is a little bit out of hand.
That's a rarity. Now here it is full speed. What's the reaction?
Oh! Sound is worse than the sight of it.
That hurt up here.
They adjusted the bats downward after the 21-14 final 3 years ago. Isn't it time to do that again?
I think it might be a little overreacting if you do, because not every game is like it.
We've already had two that were we've had by far the 2 longest 9-inning games in the history. 51 years they've played.
In the history, though. That's the key. History.
Brandon Peñas.
I don't think we're going to see that every night.
Peñas will loosen again. He's been up several times as Ott will see if he's able to continue. Coming up next, Sports Center with Brian Kenny and Pam Ward. 3 is Wild in Philly. 3 titles for Guga and 33 for Barry with a wooden bat. Be about 70 right now with the sticks they're using here in Omaha.
Well, Barry uses an aluminum bat. You know, everybody in the big leagues, put it this way, by this point in time, used an aluminum bat when they first started swinging it.
Big hand. Well deserved for Tom Ott. He's going to stay in. 1 out of the 8th. A well-earned out on that sharp hopper by Groff. And he'll face Jay Heinz. Sacrifice reached on a throwing error by the catcher Morris in the second. Last 2 times it bounced to first baseman Johnson. Has gone all the way, DHing Friday, left field today. Talented young right-hander there, James Burgess, has not been able to get off the bench yet for Tulane. Retired for the 3rd straight time, 2 outs in the
8th. Nice job by Mr. Ott coming back. Really throwing a lot of strikes, getting ahead of the hitters, and as a result, been able to get outs. He hasn't really used an off-speed pitch, Dave. He's been going primarily with that fastball.
He's thrown like the closer that he's normally been this year.
I think you made the point, though, that he was a starter when he came to Nebraska, so you know he knows how to go deeper into a game. And maybe that's one of the reasons they brought him in when they brought him in, other than they needed to stop the bleeding at that time.
0-1 pitch to Giarratano, hits it. So, base runner aboard with 2 outs. And the bottom 2 hitters continue to cause misery for Dave Van Horn. Giarratano reaches for the 3rd straight time. That's Scott Madden, who has reached all 3 of his plate appearances. He was hit his first time up and a single his last 2.
If you're at home and you're wondering, well, why does a guy get hit in the college game and go straight to first base in the program? You see a guy look at the pitcher. The fact that most of the time, I would say 80% of the time in the big leagues, when you get hit by a pitch, it was intentional. That's how good their control is. And that's why hitters will sit there and look at a pitcher like, I know you hit me on purpose.
So why aren't there more ejections of pitchers?
I think one, Fines and Mr. Frank Robinson has done a nice job of settling that down. And also retaliation.
In the National League.
And in the American League. They're going to hit somebody else. They'll protect you.
Two and 1 to Madden. This year, for the first time in the majors, the umpires do not have to issue a warning. First time they come close and the home plate umpire is sure it was intentional, whether it hits the batter or not, you can toss the pitcher. And it has happened.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that wholeheartedly. because sometimes you are trying to bust the guy inside and the intent of a pitch to get in, and the hitter may lean over or whatever, and now you take away a weapon of the pitcher being able to pitch an inside hand. You let things intent, it becomes an iffy situation. Big pitch coming here.
The intent of the Husker fans is to help Ott retire Madden for the first time today. And he does with his second strikeout. Ott fights through pain to get through the 8th and turn it over to the Nebraska bats. Down still by 1. Tulane lead. We move into the bottom of the 8th inning. The new pitcher for Tulane, warmed up several times today. He's a two-way performer, freshman from Shreveport, who has been DHing until finally coming in relief of Bo Richardson. Richardson turns over a 6-5 lead for Aubrey's 16th appearance. Unbeaten 3-0 with an ERA near 5.
And the way he swung the bat and the way he's a ball player, you know, he's Roy Hobbs. This young man's doing it all.
Aaron Feldman replacing Heinz in left. And the first Husker will greet Aubrey. He starts Josh Hesse with a strike. A single and 2 fly balls by Hesse.
What a job, though, by Bo Richardson. Incredible.
He battled and battled. Ends up going 7 effective enough innings to leave with the lead. And what more can you ask of your starter? Only 7 hits. Hesse's grounder. To charge it. Plenty of time to Juries for the first out.
He made that look easy, didn't he?
He made a great point the other night. A shortstop cannot afford a bobble. Other positions, you just kind of knock it down and still have time, but the shortstop doesn't have that luxury.
That's why shortstop is the most difficult position on the field. You have to handle the ball flawlessly. You have to have a great arm to be able to throw somebody out. And you control the defense most of the time. You're the one who positions guys. You're the one who's calling pickoffs and run down. So many responsible things come out of the shortstop position.
They had moved Aubrey a month ago to the end of the rubber to help him with his control. He was consistently missing to one side, so they made that adjustment with great results.
Morris back in. Remember the last time he was up, he pulled the ball foul off Bo Richardson. The next pitch, he hit it to the seats.
All the way on the right side of the rubber.
Well, you're right. And what that does, so many guys will use that rubber to relocate. It's almost like golf for me. When I want to hit a ball straight, I open myself up and slice it back to the right, and I know it may go straight.
It may.
It may.
That's all most of us can ask. Another ground ball. Finds the hole on the right side. Jed Morris has a one-out single, and the tying run is aboard for Nebraska.
Well, Nebraska's accustomed to comebacks, Dave. I mean, they've 15 such comebacks, the 7th inning on, and they're 13-2. And they're down in the 7th inning on. They have the ability to do that.
And 7 through 9, they have owned this year. And pinch hitter Willie Jones out to run for Jed Morris. So Morris, in his last 2 times up, homers in the 6th and leaves after a base hit in the 8th. Jones, the tying run at first. Will Bolt singled and walked his last 2 times up.
Well, one of the reasons that ball was able to trickle through is because when you have a lead late in the game, you play no doubles and you guard the line. See where the third baseman Gotro is standing. And the first baseman is going to hold the runner, obviously. But you give up a lot of territory for ground balls when you're trying to hold the line. And I understand the philosophy. You don't want to double to beat you. Throw it through. Here's a good look at Gotro. Now, normally he would be over in this position, but he's giving up the whole hole.
3 balls and no strikes to both. Not really a home run threat. He's got only 2 this year. Willie Jones, pretty good base stealers. Only tried 5, but he has been successful on 4. Works the walk of 4 pitch face-on balls from Aubrey. That will get a visit from Rick Jones.
Well, this would be an interesting conversation. I think the main thing, if he leaves him in, they throw strike.
Good job.
Check in with Dave Ryan.
Jeff gets set to bat. Through all these years of watching the College World Series as a fan, teams really didn't care about that much. What's it the big difference of watching the Huskers here with your son on the field?
It's before I could relax and really enjoy the College World Series and enjoy all the games, the teams that were here. Now with Jeff out there on the field, you know, it has a whole different feel. I sit out there and kind of pinch myself thinking, you know, he's out there. He's really there. It's my son. And I mean, it's an overwhelming feeling of pride.
Colleen, he's got a chance here for some real history. Enjoy the rest of the bat. We'll keep you on camera here for a few minutes.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
First pitch for Aubrey is a strike. Family has been season ticket holders to the College World Series for over 15 years.
One of the things that Coach Jones did right there with that conversation, he told Aubrey, don't worry about the runners. Go ahead and pick up the hitter. And he said, you can beat this guy in here if you pick him.
On the delivery. In his bat. Checks in and the tying run moves to third. The go-ahead run to second for John Cole.
Cool customer.
Again, Sports Center follows us. And everyone not wearing green, and there are only a handful who aren't in the Husker red, on their feet for John Cole.
Well, I don't know if President Bush got this kind of ovation, and his is pretty big, pretty close.
Two outs, bottom of the 8th. Loser goes home, elimination game. Strike 1 to Cole, a .423 hitter after his 3 for 4, 2 home run performance Friday against the Tigers. Today, has struck out twice, single and scored. Aubrey's 0-1, misses the corner.
Change it from the outside half. You know what impressed me about the crowd standing up right now is the knowledge of the game, understanding the moment.
This is the key moment in the history of the Nebraska baseball program.
It really is.
112 years. Their first trip 50 miles away to the College World Series. To center, but playable for Kaplan. And Aubrey does the job on relief. Well, we move to the 9th, and this one is still very much in doubt. Tulane, a 1-run lead in this elimination game. First time either team has made it to Omaha, and one will leave 2 and out. One will stay, and right now, if the Green Wave can continue the good bullpen work, it can be Tulane advancing. Tito Rivera is the new catcher replacing Jed Morris. And Tom Ott out for another inning of relief. He's gone 3. The longest outing in relief for him, 4 innings, March 4th. The 1-2-3 hitters for the Green Wave combined for 7 of 13, drove in 6 on Friday, 4 for 11 with Gautreau's homer. They've driven in half the Green Wave runs today. Start off the 9th. Right over the top on Kaplan.
He misses.
Lead-off double scored in the first. Hit the collision at first on the RBI ground out. Ran right into Dan Johnson. And we were both surprised that he didn't injure his neck because the top of the helmet went right into the midsection of Big Dan. He shook his injury off like Ott shook his off in the first batter of the 8th. Ott now 3-0 behind Kaplan. Terrific pad handler, great speed. 21 out of 24 stealing this year. Ott's 3-0 pitch, throws it right over. Not unusual for Ott. He has a couple of starts. He made a 4-inning start against Ohio State back in February, and 4 innings in relief against Texas Tech. Fights back to a full count.
No uncharted territory for him. He's been here before.
Little looper, which will fall in front of John Cole, and a leadoff single by Kaplan.
That was a good pitch right in on his hands. You see the first base coach right there?
Chad Suter. Famous last name.
Indeed.
Did you ever
Bruce
against
Suter,
his
possibly?
father? Maybe his father was before your time.
Yeah, I was just coming in when Bruce Suter was finishing.
He really invented his pitch, didn't he?
Well, he changed the closer role. Brought back the split finger fastball. A lot of things for that position.
Oh, that's his son, Chad.
Chad hops in the cage every day and takes one big swing and hit one out today. I know he'd be proud to hear that.
Green Wave all-time hit leader Andy Cannizaro 1 for 4 today. Light out his last 2 times after singling his first time. He squares the bunt and takes it inside.
Now, Dave, here's one thing we've seen already in the games in the College World Series. They're giving you an out, throw a strike, let him bunt it, get the out. Hit batsmen's, wild pitches. We've seen a lot of different things in this situation.
Right past Blevins, who had charged it, expecting another bunt. And he blisters it in the left.
That's tremendous. Tremendous butcher boy, as they would call it. And how you execute that is you square around early, and when the pitcher goes into the wind, you bring it back. Right here, squares early, and he knows already. Brings it back and smokes it. But what set that up, that doesn't happen if he throws a ball on the first pitch. If he throws a strike the first pitch, he's bunting. But because he didn't, now you give the hitter an option on a 1-0 count. And the way he handles the bat, coach cut him loose. Couldn't execute it any better.
Out comes Van Horn. No need to save anybody because there may not be any more baseball for the Huskers if they don't hold Tulane and come back and score in their half of the night. So they're going to come with Brandon Canis, left-hander out of the bullpen, to face the left-handed power-hitting Jake Gautreau when we come back. Well, you can't get more challenging opportunity
or problem, depending on how you look at it, for a reliever. And here is what Peñas inherits. He is a senior from Grand Island, Nebraska. Comes in with 2 runners on, and he'll face Jake Gautreaux, his 12th appearance, microscopic ERA in just 12 1/3 innings. He struck out 11. Gautreaux, his last 2 times up, homered to greet the first reliever, Picard, back in the 6th. Singled to lead off the 7th.
Well, the question here is, do you bunt Gautreaux? And I say no way.
Bunt Gautreaux?
Well,
21 home run.
People got to be thinking about it. You're a 6-5 ball game. Do you bunt your 3rd guy? I don't see it happening.
Both premier hitters have done their jobs today. We highlighted at the outset. Johnson's gone deep as well. Not square as it takes ball 1.
And rightfully so. He shouldn't be thinking about it. But the question was asked. Do you bunt Gautreaux? I compared it to, do you bunt Ken Griffey Jr.? Do you bunt Jim Edmonds? No.
Peñas normally left-hander to face 2 key hitters. He's from Grand Island, where he played American Legion ball for R.D. Speed's father. Speed's the starter today, went 5 innings. And allowed only 2 runs, pitched very well. Gautreaux calling time ahead in the count 2-0. This College World Series, those are outstanding numbers. 3-0.
I threw Righty out here too. I let him go ahead and pick out a pitch and let it fly.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. I want my man swinging the bat.
Well, Juries has not swung a hot bat today or Friday. Only 1 hit in the series. 0 for 3 with a walk today.
The runner at second base totally gave that away. Kaplan standing right on top of the base, so I thought in my mind, Gautreaux's not swinging here. He didn't even have a lead. I mean, he took about 1 step. That's where he stood when the pitch was delivered.
Pitch misses. They are loaded with nobody out for Juries. Peñas may have faced his only batter. Steve Hale, sophomore right-hander, has been loosening more than once today. And he will take over. Really unenviable situation. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Huskers desperately trying to get to the bottom of the ninth, still down by only 1. The 5th Nebraska pitcher. Normally a long reliever. Let's beat Steve Hale, who inherits the bases loaded, no outs.
My name's Steve Hale from Yukon, Oklahoma. Right-handed pitcher, and I like to throw the curveball.
Fastball up to about 88 miles an hour. He's a 3rd-year sophomore because he got a medical redshirt 2 years ago with elbow problems. This year, 5-0, 2 saves in 19 appearances. Walked only 18, good ratio for that amount of innings. James Juries singled his first time on Friday against Stanford. Since then is 0 for 7. 0 for 3 today with a walk and a run scored. Glum faces, dressed in red and white.
Hot day, too.
Worn him out emotionally, physically, about every way you can. First pitch, he's going after it. He fouls on the roof of the press box.
Well, they've got the infield drawn in. There's only 1 play here in Nebraska's mind. That is going home. But it's interesting, they've kind of changed it. The shortstop is playing back about double play depth, but the right side of the infield is up.
Ball on the strike to Juries. Somehow, ideally, they'd like to get the bouncer right back to the mound for a home first double play.
Definitely need a strike though. You don't want to walk a guy in this situation. Make him swing the bat. Make something happen. Maybe it'll turn out.
Oh yeah, they're gonna
Kaplan singled. He's at third. Canizaro singled. He's at second. Gotro walked off Peñas. Hale now with a 2-1. He's to come in. The jury skies it back.
Jury's really trying to jerk the ball, and as you start to try to pull everything, your body, you pull off the ball. That could be the one little reason he's struggling. He's not keeping his head there long enough to see it all the way off the bat.
Just does stay alive at 2-2.
So if he can get a strikeout here, double play ball will be in effect.
On deck hitter is Aubrey, who has a single and an RBI and a double today.
They got a hitter pulling off the ball every time. They still continue to pound him inside. Throw it outside if he's going to pull off. Maybe you'll get a swing and miss.
Oh! Misses inside. 3-2. So Hale has a little conversation with himself. No telling what Dave Van Horn's saying to his own self here. 3-2. Bases loaded, nobody out. Excuse me, foul ball on what was surely ball 4.
Juris isn't looking for a ball inside. I don't understand his thinking. They've pounded him inside every pitch this whole game. They happen to throw one on the outside half, you tip your cap. Oh well, and I'm sitting there looking for something inside. Now if I'm Nebraska, I want to put one on the outside half.
And target for Rivera. Hit sharply.
Wow. Wow. Of all the places to hit the ball, couldn't have turned out any better for Nebraska. Blevins made a nice little short hop pick on that backhand too. They have brought these people to their feet, and deservedly so. Incredible play.
Rivera with the tag because the force off with Blevins already getting the out at third, and he made sure on Kaplan. Huge ovation for Steve Hale. With the double play, still 2 on, but now 2 outs. As Waylon Byers will make his way in. The left-hander tries to get out of it when we come back.
ESPN's presentation of the NCAA College World Series is brought to you by Domino's. Get the door, it's Domino's. And by NikeBasketball.com.
Back here at Rosenblatt Stadium, still 6-5, but a completely different situation that the 4th Nebraska pitcher here in the top of the 9th inherits than the one that Steve Hale just took over. Hale takes over, bases loaded, nobody out, gets a double play shot to Blevins at third, turns it over to Waylon Byers, who will take on Michael Aubrey with runners now on first and second and 2 outs.
Incredible.
You know, that was close to maybe being a triple play chance. It just did bounce. A shot to right. Adam Stern back on the track and leaps and hits it at the wall.
Talk about bringing the house down. Bases loaded, no outs, and look at Stearns going back. The great play, the great catch. And oh, we go to the 9th. This could be very interesting.
Last chance for the Huskers. 23,000 here to see them survive. But they've got to come up with at least a run in the bottom of the 9th.
Tulane and the Cornhuskers' first trip ever to Omaha. It will be a short one for one. SportsCenter will follow.
Well, Aubrey's biggest test, Dave, will be to refocus on the mound. You know, you hit the ball to right center field, and now he's got a job to do, the freshman.
From bases loaded, no outs, to 3 outs on 2 pitches. And Tulane had almost the same thing happen when they were trying to come from behind against Stanford when they lost by 2 Friday. Adam Stern, a walk, a 2-run triple, and 2 groundouts.
And who caught the ball in right field to make the last hit?
That would be Adam Stern. He takes the strike.
The lead off.
Aubrey will earn this save if he gets it. 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Stern, Hopper, Dan Johnson. Opposite field bid is foul.
This is a great game.
This is the College World Series that we expect every year. These two have given us a classic.
What fun was it? A lot of fun when you sit here.
I don't think Rick Jones and Dave Van Horn having much fun right now. Aubrey's 0-2. Weak chopper.
The only possible way he's going to make that play, he may have had time to scoop and flip it and put a little more on it, but wow, to come up with a play like that in the bottom of the 9th. Great play. Stern's flying down the line. Now what sets this up? Look at the angle in which he turns his body to get in position. We got it. Web jam.
By a step on the stretch by Juries. 1 out for Hopper, who was 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. It has gone deep 12 times this year.
This is such a game of inches. Now watch where Stern hits the base at. He's going to be on the back side of the base. If he hits the front of the base, he even has a chance to beat that out, but he hits the back of the base. You always want to hit the front part of the base.
Difference can be that minute sometimes to decide games.
Absolutely.
On deck hitter Dan Johnson, who hit his 25th home run last time up. 2-2.
This cool freshman. Amazing.
3 straight on the outside corner, 2 outs in the 9th. Well, appropriate, Harold, and a classic comes down to a classic confrontation. The record-setting home run hitter who hit his 25th in the 7th. Controversy. Kaplan, the center fielder, could not have gotten it, but still argued for fan interference. Correctly called by second base umpire Paul Willier, a home run. If he can do it again, we've got a tie game. Rip. Handles it, and Tulane wins, and Nebraska goes home. First trip to Omaha the Cornhuskers is a short one by mileage and a short one by time spent in the College World Series.
And they still receive a standing ovation, and deservedly so. What a tremendous effort to hang into this ball game, come back. Gonna miss Nebraska in this World Series.
2 one-run losses in the first College World Series appearance by Nebraska. 6-5 Tulane, our final. And the Green Wave still alive as Nebraska is our first team eliminated from this College World Series. Green Wave on to take on the loser of tonight's game between Stanford and Cal State Fullerton. Don't forget, play in the bottom half of the draw resumes tomorrow on ESPN2. Tennessee and Georgia battle in an elimination
This has been a presentation of ESPN.